Yes, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I wholeheartedly offer whatever suits your time zone. Again, it's another Blue Morning show, and I hope everybody is doing well. I really do mean that. Today, we're going to talk about the Ricketts, the fact that they are show, and I hope in the final, they are in the final phase, and we're going to talk about the possibility of them emerging as the new owners of Chelsea Football Club. That is very possible given the fact that they are in the final phase. And we're going to be asking people questions what they are going to do if that happens and what we think will happen if eventually they emerge as the new owners of Chelsea Football Club. So let's get into it. Yes, people, welcome back to the Blue Morning Show. Once again, I hope you all are doing well, and I really do mean that. Today, we will talk about the Ricketts, the fact that they are in the final phase of the Chelsea sale process, and the fact also that technically, since they are in the final phase, there's a chance that they will emerge the new owners of Chelsea Football Club, and also what we think will happen if that happens, and what also be asking people what they will do if that happens. But first, I want to say thank you again for finding time to be part of the panel today, to join. It's been a long, you know, while ago he started following this channel and he stuck with this channel through thick and thin. And I've gotten to know him personally. He's a great individual. So, Stav, again, I am happy to welcome you to the panel. How are you doing today, Stav?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. Okay, if I have a coughing fit during the show, it's because I'm asthmatic and sometimes I get a bit of a choking thing in my throat, closes up a bit. That's why I cough sometimes. But do you want any updates then?
If you have any update, you could go ahead with the update, but I'd say maybe we'll leave the update for later in the show. What do you think?
Yeah, can do. There's not that many anyway. Won't take more than 2 minutes.
All right, go ahead.
All right. For those who don't know, Timo Werner, Kai Havertz both scored for Germany.
That was good to see.
Yeah, they played up top as a two. So maybe that's something we can think about as well. On occasions, maybe go 4-1-3-2 or something like that. Also, Mitzi Batshuayi scored for Belgium. very good goal. And the usual rumours about Rudiger being chased by this club and that club. The interesting one was that. 1 second. The interesting
go ahead.
The interesting one was Juventus have made him an offer, which works out at 108,000 a week. So I'm not sure he's going to be taking that. And at 3 o'clock UK time today, if you've got nothing to do, watch Chelsea women at Leicester with a chance to go top of the WSL. It's on Sky Sports, Premier League, Sky Sports Football, and Sky Sports main events on 3 different channels. Right, I'm done.
Yeah. Okay. All right. It looks like you are really breaking up, Star. But let's. I think you're done with the. If I ask, I think you're done with the update. So, and with that, I think we should go straight into the main topic of the day. And I also welcome Tobago to the panel. So let's continue. I'll start by looking at the comments here. This is regarding the question, what would you do if the Ricketts emerge as the new owners of Chelsea Football Club? Phantom of Many Topics here says, I will definitely quit Chelsea Football Club friendship for sure, 100%. Again, that it's you. As for me, I will never leave my club for anybody, and I'll explain why. So you own a house. Fahim, first of all, welcome to the panel today. How are you doing, my brother?
Yeah, I'm doing well. How's everyone doing?
Brilliant. I can't complain. So as for me, and also Tobago, welcome to the panel. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. I can't complain. Now, here's how I see it. I have a house. And if I find a snake in the house, this is not me. I'm not calling anybody snake. That's why I'm just giving you an example. I will not abandon my house because a snake ran into my house. The most, strategic thing to do and the most sensible thing to do is to find a way to get rid of the snake and stay in my house. If I leave my house because a snake runs into my house, then I'm a coward. That's just the way I see it. That's not me calling anybody a coward. That's how I see it. We have every right to see things the way we do. And Tobago here says, hit the like button, people, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. They will never, not my club. And this is Declan saying good morning. And this is Hi saying hi. Unfortunately, I would just go straight to Liverpool if Ricketts win again. And that is you. But I've explained to you the reason I will never abandon Chelsea Football Club. I will remain a Chelsea fan till the fat lady sings in the church. You know what that means. Cannot believe that half of the people would leave the club. Yes, that's something I will never do again. That is them. When I missed a sitter in that game as well, declared, give the guy a break. He scored. That should overshadow the fact that he missed a goal. You can change the formation all you want. Okay, I get that argument there. Hi, Ricketts, they cannot be good owners, though. There's a very strong argument for that. Sedan is a bidder, isn't he? I'm not sure. We're not sure who the Mr. Bidders are. There are suggestions that there are some Mr. Bidders that we don't know about. But today we're here to talk about the Ricketts. I hope everybody on the panel is doing well. We have our CFC Fahim. He has a good channel. And if you haven't, please go check it out. You will not regret it if you do so, and you will thank me later. So I will start with CFC Fahim. Fahim, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well, Coach. Doing well.
The words you're speaking says you're doing well, but the way you say it says you're concerned. Are you concerned, Fahim?
I'm concerned that it's a possibility, but I'm also thinking that it's not going to happen. I don't think the Ricketts will become owners of Chelsea Football Club because of everything that's been going on. But like you said, you can never rule them out. There's always a chance for them to become an owner for Chelsea. And I've got my feelings and opinions on if they do become Chelsea owners, because, as you know, I am Muslim myself. So when I hear stuff like what they've been saying, yeah, it does kind of make me upset. I'm not going to lie, but that's only me. I don't know. I can't really speak for everyone. So yeah.
So what would you do if that happens? So, are you going to stop supporting Chelsea and start supporting some other club? What are you going to do?
It's like, Coach, it's like me. If they were to become owners of Chelsea Football Club and we're supporting Chelsea, we're technically still supporting them as well, because and I can't do that. I can't support an owner that's gonna. I'm not just saying that we're just supporting owner. We're supporting Chelsea, yes, but I can't have an owner that's Islamophobic, that's got hatred towards people, certain groups of people. I can't have that at Chelsea at all. So that's why
which
I would.
Means, are you implying that you stop supporting Chelsea because if it happens?
Possibly, yeah.
Wow, again, that is you. But how about what I explained to you? Chelsea is your home, for instance, and a snake runs into your home. Are you going to leave the house for the snake to leave the house to become that of the snake and not your home anymore?
It's not really the snake. It's like when you're supporting the club, you're
Mm,
practically supporting the owner as well. For example, when you buy merchandise from the club, you're supporting the owner in that way as well. You're financially giving them money. You're giving them money. So I that's what's in my head. I wouldn't want to do that from my end because that means I'm just practically supporting the Islamophobic owner. So I don't know. That's not what I want.
No, okay, again, that is you, and we're all entitled to our opinions and whatever we want to do in life. It's a free world. Coming to you, Declan, there's a possibility, whether we like it or not, and I think you are the one that made me realize, wait, there's a chance this could happen. Because the fact is we're not part of the selection. We could protest all we like. If there's a reason that those, and again, but before I come to you, Declan, Fahim, let me ask you this. How about the fact that the Muslim leaders in their home community reached out to Chelsea fans saying they should give them a chance, and the fact they've been doing some good work there. Does that matter to you at all?
No, not really, because from what I know, a lot of let's say Muslim Chelsea fans, they're on my side as well. They agree that if someone like him is gonna say Muslims are my enemy, how can I support that? I can't.
Hmm.
That's not possible for me.
Yeah, I think I get your argument there, and again, but I've explained the reason why I will never stop supporting Chelsea. But I think I'd rather join the forces to make life miserable for them until they decide they're better off selling the club. Again, if you ask me, one part of me still thinks it will never happen, and I don't want it to happen. One part of me is still truly concerned, and that concern dawned on me yesterday when Declan spoke. He made the point clear that since they're still in the running, then there's a chance that he cannot even believe they're still in the running to become new Chelsea owners. So Declan, coming to you straight up to you, you know clearly because you talked about it yesterday. There's a chance it could happen, and if it happens, what are you going to do, Declan, and why?
Well, how's everyone doing before anything?
We are doing well. We're doing well, brother. How about you?
Great. I like these earlier shows, but
Mm-hmm.
I can't get past this that your analogy. The snake comes into your home. You said, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and so do you live with the snake? Are you ready to live with the snake?
I can't live with. I know. I will not live with the snake.
Coach.
So
What
what
if
are you
the snake
doing?
bites you?
What I would do, either of the things, okay, go ahead, Fahim. You wanted to say something. Listen,
Yeah,
Hey,
Fahim.
Fahim, let him answer it.
Wait,
It's his
before you
own
say,
analogy. He's stuck in his own analogy. Coach, I want to
no, I'm
hear
not stuck.
your
I'm just saying, I'm not going to
answer.
leave my house and run away. I will find a
No,
way
I
to
asked,
make
are
sure the
you going to
snake
live with the
leaves.
snake?
No, I won't.
So
I
that's
won't.
why I
And that.
sympathize with Fatim, because I am almost in the same. I am in the same boat, and
Mm,
I want to support Chelsea, but I don't want to support the Ricketts family if they get in, right?
mm,
And that's why Fatim's in stuck between, and like most people are going to stuck between. Like, what do? You still want to support the team, but you don't want to support the club, because the club now, anything that benefits the club benefits the owner, and so.
that's where
ha-
Fahim's argument is very powerful. But go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm in the boat where because if Ricketts win, I think it's not just more because of the Ricketts. It almost feels like it feels like a heist. It feels like the club, this is like the biggest heist in the world. Like the club's been robbed, right? Robbed from the fans, and the whole process has been corrupt, and it's ended up. well, The club was meant to go into the best owner's hands possible that was out
Hmm.
there.
Hmm.
And the
Hmm.
fact that it didn't, and the fact that we're so against it, right? And now it just feels like just a robbery. And so, how do we go against that? So, in your analogy, it
Please,
might
if
not
you're
be the
not the
snakes in
one
the house.
talking,
It might
please
be your
mute
house
your
got
phone.
robbed. Me?
If you're not the one talking, mute your mic, please. Go ahead. Go ahead, Stav. Go ahead, Declare. Sorry.
Yes, I was just saying this is more like in your analogy,
Hmm.
your house getting stolen from you.
Hmm.
It feels. I feel very robbed if they get in, and
Yeah.
I would want them out. And if it means me not supporting the club so they don't benefit in a way, then I almost might take that option. I would be doing anything I can so they can get out and we can everyone get out. Whether it's protesting, whether it's stop watching them, stop
Mm.
buying their stuff, anything. It almost means war, but it shouldn't come to that. It's just insane that they're still there. I'm still, um, yeah, I'm still lost for words that this process has been so corrupt, and there's probably there was probably other bidders too that were way better, and the biggest. They say the fans are the most important. The fans have
Hmm.
had zero say on this process, and even when we do have a say, right, strongly against one party, they made it through. Zero say on this process, and even when we do have a say,
We're getting an echo, please. If you're not the one talking, please mute your mic.
zero say on this process. It's mad delay too.
We're getting an echo, please. If you're not the one talking, please mute your mic. Go ahead, Declan.
You muted my mic.
Okay, you go ahead now. I've seen who to mute now. Go ahead, Declan.
Sorry. It's not me joining in twice yet, am I?
No, you're not twice, no.
Yeah, lost my train of thought. But yeah, just look, I was getting on the process. I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy that Ricketts are even there. And you did bring it up. I still, the fact that they're there, I think the process is corrupt, and that means that the person that wins is going down a road, a corrupt road of who the Raine Group maybe favor. And maybe there was really good bidders that didn't make it because they didn't follow the corrupt process. So I hate the whole thing. I heard there's a mystery bidder too from Nick. So I hope I'm going to back that mystery bidder.
Okay, I think, yeah, I'm hearing that there are some mystery bidders that we don't know about yet. But let me say this. Fahim, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I hope you're not seeing me as being up for that's
No,
this show
it's
doesn't
fine
mean
now.
exactly. We're just being objective here. We're just finding, and there's a way. I'm trying to explain that I don't think the best option will be to stop supporting the club if that's the case. You get my point now. And there are people who say like the Clyde explained that yeah, it would mean if you're still supporting the club, you will mean you're still supporting the owners. But before I come to the next person, I will read some comments here because this is an interactive show. It is Explosive Gamer 105 says, why should we stop supporting? It is not a case of Ricketts equal to Chelsea. If they get the ownership of our club, Chelsea is an entity independent of its owner. It will, it existed, and after any owner, it will, yeah, die. I know you guys get the point. And Explosive also says, if the snake gets into the house, we'll kill the snake. We'll find a way, yeah, to make sure we kill the snake and keep our house. Kill doesn't mean in terms of making somebody to stop breathing. That is just an analogy, which means you find a way to get rid of the snake and then keep your house. You don't run out of your house. So this is an African saying, by the way, but to me, the way I say the situation, it does make sense to me. And with that, I'm gonna go to you. How about you, Tobago? And let's stop mind how we refer to anybody as corrupt, so we don't get into trouble, and the channel will be shut down. You can find a way to reference who we know you're talking about, and we will understand. Tobago, what would you do? I know you're Muslim, right, Tobago?
Coach, can I
How are
come?
you guys?
Yeah, I'll come to you in a bit, Nick, except if you want to leave in a bit.
No, I don't want to leave. I've got something very important to say. Plus, quite a few things to say.
Mm.
So, all right, let Tobacco finish.
Okay, then I'll read just one comment here also. GUV 1905 says you don't support the owners, but you stick with the club. I think that's a way to also do that. Manchester United fans support their club, but not their owners. Our situation is more extreme in a moral sense, but why can't we do the same? We have to find a way to keep supporting the club we love. And here, Philip Smith says, what happened to Always a Blue will always a blue and I will never stop supporting Chelsea. I think you get what he's trying to say there. Chelsea till I die. And GUV 1905 says, drive the snake out and keep your house. Again, that's what I would do. Some people would choose to do otherwise. And I can still continue supporting Chelsea FC, but protest against the Ricketts if they become the new owners. If they're not accepted and the new owners by the fans, they might get the message. Exactly. That's another way to do it. But I'm not going to stop supporting Chelsea because anybody, it doesn't matter. I know what they did, and I will keep voicing my opinion one way or the other. And believe me, they will be forced out if people start going to games. That is the truth. They will be forced to sell. Chelsea are going to have owners we might not like, but we still love our club. And this is TC saying hit the like button. Thank you for that. I think I will stop with the comment a bit, and I will continue reading the comment later. So Tobago, go ahead. I wanted to ask you first, you're Muslim, right?
No, I'm not Muslim. I'm a Christian. But,
okay. But it doesn't still matter.
Yes, to be honest, first of all, I will never leave Chelsea Football Club. But I have a scenario for you guys. Ne? So let's say Raine, the bidders came to Raine and then they gave Raine money, but their proposal were not good enough to convince Raine, right? And then those in the shortlist, they have a good proposal, but we don't know. I'm just making a scenario. They have a good proposal to them. And then they're through because their proposal was better than others, and then maybe they made some investigations that those guys there are clean. But I'm not saying the Ricketts are clean. I'm just making a scenario. Also, Raine now gave Chelsea a shortlist. So you guys, this is the 4 bidders that I think that will be best for you guys. So you guys have to choose between these guys who will buy your club. So hopefully, from what we have seen all along, the Ricketts are not good enough. But maybe the proposal was good for Raine. But in our eyes, all along.
Go ahead. I think I see who's doing that. Please mute your mic if you're not the one talking, or I will remove you from the panel, please. It causes echo. Go ahead, Tobago.
Okay. From now on, the future is on the Chelsea board because we have 4 potential buyers, right? So hopefully, from what we have seen around the world, and then fans raising their concern via Ricketts, hopefully those ones are automatically out. But we'll never know. But my fear is that they're on their shortlist. But hopefully, from what we have seen all along, those guys won't be considered by a Chelsea board. That's my scenario. Because we are busy complaining, say we want Saudi media, we want the candy, but we don't know the inside. What happened through their proposal to Raine? How loaded are they, and what is their main plan for Chelsea? Look at now, Raine may increase the bid, saying you have to at least have 1 billion to renovate Stamford Bridge. They are testing the owners. How far do you want this club? How far are you willing to invest in this club? So I'm not saying Saudi media doesn't have money, but if we're going to accept Saudi media, it's going to take a very long time for them to own Chelsea because due to they have to make some research. They are not under government and stuff. So, but personally, I'll never leave Chelsea Football Club. I love that club. I'll never go, but hopefully, I'm praying and hoping Ricketts are not won't be our owners. That's my say.
Yep, I think I get your point. We're all concerned that the fact that they are in the short list, they're shortlisted, if you like, we want to phrase it that way. Again, I still have hopes, and half of me still have hopes that it will never happen because we have people in the board. And I think Roman sees the protest of the fans. Marina does see it. Also, I believe Bruce Buck sees it. And the other guy we've mentioned here before. So I don't think they will risk anything that would tarnish the image of the club in any way. Maybe if you don't see it as if it would tarnish the club image, it will cause problems. It's a PR nightmare. How do you explain that? Like we established the other day when DJ Sarv was here, learned from him that we're still paying, for racial issues we've had at the club before. So why should we accommodate people, someone with such a history? I don't think it won't make sense at all. But then again, technically, they could still win it because they are shortlisted. So I'm going to come out to you. Declan, did you even tell me what you would do? Would you just say you would stop the club or you wouldn't before I go to Nick Blue?
I said I was a bit on the fence. Maybe the best resolve will be I'll take a break and maybe do everything I could. I mean, I'm not a match-going fan, and I could do very little. But I'll take actions to do anything I could against the club. So if it did mean taking a break and not supporting from afar, or just watching, maybe even, I mean, does it go to the extremes to not even subscribe to for the channel for the rights of the EPL just so they don't get a piece? I mean, how far does it go sometimes? But I'll definitely do anything I could in my power to not do it, to go against the owners. I meant. So I would be so gutted, so sick to my stomach that I would want to take a break till Ricketts were gone. If that makes sense.
Here's the thing. I think I get your point. I think we will find the most effective way to protest. I don't think the best action will be to stop supporting Chelsea Football Club. We will find there are ways that we can protest. And again, I'm not skipping comments. I will come back to the comments. I am highlighting them. They're very important because this is an interactive show. And also, let me see. Yeah, I'm highlighting the comments. We will come to them one by one. And I want to also welcome Worldwide Tells Sadiq to the show. He said, would slowly distance and now show a much interest in Chelsea if they took over. Very difficult as a content creator. Yes, but we must find a way to make our voices heard. And again, Sadiq, thank you very much for finding time to stop by, brother. That means a lot to me. So I'm going to come back. I come to Nick Blue. You wanted to say something. You go ahead. What were you going to say?
Yeah, first of all, can you tell everyone to mute their mics? Because that's why I'll keep going in and people have their mics on when they talk.
Okay, so if you're not the one talking, please mute your mic so it doesn't echo. It can be very irritating.
Yeah, it's very bad. Yeah, anyway, first of all, Ricketts is not going to be our new owner. That's 100%, I'm telling you.
Okay.
Second of all these people saying they're not going to be fans anymore, they can go right now. We don't need them. I don't care where they are. India, Africa, wherever they are, they can go support Tottenham or Liverpool. Because we real Chelsea fans, we don't want people like that. We rather have less fans than have all this lot. That's including you, Hakim. I know you get dead against Ricketts, but even if he does come in, we will voice our actions against him. We will protest till we get rid of him. But he ain't coming. That's the whole point. He ain't got a chance in hell.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they'll come either.
Finish this. Yeah. I ain't got nothing against.
Can I ask this question, Nick Blue? Can you tell us why you're confident it's not going to happen?
Because I have someone told me. I keep telling people well, you see the bidders there, it's not just them, there's someone else out there, but no one knows. Even I don't know who. But I just heard from a Chelsea contact that there is one or two secret bidders. And we won't know till they announce the owner. That's what I heard.
Well, let me ask you this. If tomorrow it happens, what are you going to do?
If what happens, Ricketts?
Yes.
I will be at the bridge with thousands of more, fans out there, it's going to be a bigger turnout than the Super League protest. I was the first one there in the Super League, but there will be more because we don't want that Ricketts. Look, I'm a Christian. Right? I've got Muslim friends all over the world. I have, I'm a Christian, but I've got a beautiful, like Staff said, in the old days when I was young, they used to mistake me for a Muslim because I'm dark. And they used to call me stupid names, fuck off, Packy, and all this. Chelsea fans, racist fans. But I've got all, I kept going. It didn't stop me because I love the club so much. That's what if you're Chelsea fans, don't let it put you off, Hakim. Don't put it, your channel and everything because of one stupid racist idiot. That's why, don't let it put you off. I'll keep saying it. Because, first of all, he won't be. And if he is, we will get him out.
That's, again, I get your point. Again, there's no way. You cannot guarantee there's no way it will not happen. We know we have people at the table that is participating in the selection process. That gives us hope.
All right.
But the fact that they made it to the final phase is a concern.
Yeah, it's a concern, but we're going to have to go there. I keep telling people, why don't they get up and go now? Before they announce, if they're so scared, they should go, go tomorrow. Go, what they're waiting for. I'll keep saying it. Like,
what are you doing here, Nick? What are we doing here?
Huh?
What are you doing here?
We got to make
protest.
I understand your question. So, Nick, thank you for taking your time for that input. I'll come back to you again. Then I want to go to Ty before I go to Bobby and then Stav. I didn't know Stav was knocked out again. Ty, what are you going to do if it happens and why?
Can you let me the point?
I would stay at the club.
Sorry, Nick is saying he's not done. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, let me finish the point. I was just saying, there'd be a bigger turnout than the Super League protest for sure. Plus, see, you make me forget now because you cut me off all the time.
Now you're lagging a little bit, Nick.
No, I'm not lagging. You're
before when Coach you were done because you're lagging.
I'm not declaring you as a Chelsea Blue because you said you ain't going to support Chelsea. So you are.
What did I say?
You said you won't be supporting Chelsea if it's Ricketts.
No, I asked the question. Well, what is the measures we take to get the Ricketts out?
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
We'll talk about later. I think
you finish your point and let him go around.
What would be the best way to protest if that happens? So Nick, go ahead so that I can bring in somebody else.
Yeah, you heard what I have to say. It's not just me saying that. Ask Bobby. You have for me.
I will get to Bobby.
Ask him who have a similar view. Ask a lot of older Chelsea fans and young fans. You know how many young fans there was at Peter Benetti's testimonial? Very young fans, and I was so pleased to see them there. We have real fans at this club, and so don't let it put you off. Fuck the owners, I say. That's all.
Okay, so Ty, what were you going to say? What are you going to do if that happens? If it happens?
Honestly, I would stay at the club. I would stay at the club because I'm not. I was a supporter before they came, so I don't think it would be right to stop supporting the club because of the new owners. The club was there before them. The club would be there after them, possibly. So I don't really think it would be smart to say I'm going to believe in the club. But obviously, for everybody else who had said that they would distance themselves, I can understand why, because they have religious reasons for why they would. And I mean, if the circumstances that you're going to be having owners who they believe that Islamic people are enemies or things like that, that's not going to be acceptable to them. So, which is why for me, people are saying that they're not true fans. You have to consider the fact that for their religious and for personal reasons, they have to look at it from the perspective that if the owners are now people who hate Islam, people and you even have players as well. So if you have players who are Muslims and they have owners now, that's gonna affect them. So I wouldn't leave the club because of it. But for me, because I'm not entirely affected by it, I can't really say that what they're saying is false because you have to think about them as well. But I mean, if they come in, hypothetical, if they come in, they invest in the club, what would people do? They come in, they're willing to invest, but they're racist. What would people do? Would they say that they still don't want them, or will they simply say that no matter what they do, I don't want them? But I mean, it's like Nick Blue was saying, racism is something that has been happening at Chelsea in the past. It's happening now. You have a lot of racist people who are suspected to be racist, even former players. I don't want to really bring up names, but John Terry was, rumored to be racist. So you have racism is
You're right.
something that.
John Terry is a racist. I'll tell you that for now. That's true what you heard.
All right,
Yeah,
go
so
ahead. No need, no name calling here. We're here for a reason and not for JT himself. Go ahead, Tyron.
yeah, but at the same time, you have to consider that, racism has been something that's been affecting the club for years. It's part of their history. You know, black players. The first black player was racially abused, and it goes back to the entire thing with what happened. With certain players and how affected they were by it. So when I saw that they were on the shortlist at first, I was like, why are they there? They're racist. That should be the first red flag. But when you consider that you have individuals at the club that aren't really on the front line, and not really on the scene, you can't be surprised, because you have racists in the club who they will not see this as an issue, because they may see them as someone who would be willing to invest. They're probably promising things that could encourage them to be favored by the people who will be selecting the new owner. So I mean, I'm not saying that they should come in, but if they came in, I'm going to be supporting the club, not them. And it's not like I'm a match going fan, so it's not like they'll be benefiting from me necessarily, by money. I will be supporting the club because I support the club, and the song says blue is the color, football is the game. Cheer us on through the sun and the rain. It doesn't hypothetically mean that during the sun and the rain. It also means that if things are going good, if things are going bad, you support the club. So if things go bad, I mean, you have to support the club. You're supporting the club. But for people who are saying that they'll distance themselves, I can understand that, because for their religious reasons, they have to think about their health as well, and how personal it could be for them.
Let me read a few comments there, then I'll go to Bobby, then Stav. This comment here says, this is not about supporting Chelsea, it's about racism. If you're willing to walk away, then you're not a true blue. The fact is, we must establish all the things which seem not to be paying attention. It's not just about racism alone. There are other issues that we've heard of from Alex Goldback. And then what's his name also, the Chelsea supporters chair of Chicago area, which in the same town as the Ricketts, who said something about cutting workers' salary, not caring so much about their employees, increasing ticket prices, or I think for how many seasons in a row, and all that. I think it does. So it's not just about racism. We must say Islamophobic. We must say racism. And there are other factors too that you should be concerned about, not just because they're racist. The accusation is not just racism. There are other things you should research and find out yourself. And as he says, yeah, I've read that. Stand up to the racist are simple. And Philip Smith says, true Chelsea supporters will never stop supporting our club. And Christian David says, never leave my club. I've been supporting Chelsea for 40 years and season ticket holders. I think you're one of those that we'll talk about the best way to protest if eventually this happens, but I'm so hopeful it will never happen. I've supported Chelsea since I was 5 years old, and now 55. No way I am going to walk away from my club. Again, and that's you. I will never stop supporting Chelsea. I've been supporting Chelsea for 40 years. And I'm saying, okay, I think I've read something there. And this is Sadiq from What Writer saying, would slowly distance and not show as much interest in Chelsea if they took over. Very difficult as a content creator. I understand how difficult that can be myself. And plus, you're a Muslim too. And I think it hits home when you're you're Muslim or when you're black, you faced racism before, and when you're Muslim or if somebody have insulted you before, I know how that feels. Chelsea fans stick together. Nothing will break us. And then again, I believe we'll find a way to make them understand they're not welcome, and eventually they will have no option to sell but to sell the club. And TC says clearly, we have plastic fans. How can you leave Chelsea while we needed you guys? And I will never leave Chelsea Football Club. Chelsea Football Club is bigger than our potential owners. That's the truth, but you never call anybody a plastic fan because they expressed concern because of the way they feel about the situation. Because if they decide to supporting Chelsea, given that is with regards, because it has to do with their religion and how deeply rooted they are in their religion, they have every right to say they want to stop supporting Chelsea because of it. As for me, I will remain a Chelsea fan, and I have my reasons. I've explained again before. If you own a house and a snake runs into the house, will you abandon the house because of the snake, or will you find a way to make sure the snake leaves so that you keep your house? That's the way I see it. I will find a way to make sure the snake leaves the house. And GUV 1905 says there's no way the Ricketts family will get the gig simply because of historical tweets, etc. It's all to drive the price up. Possibly, I hope that's the case. And Philip Smith says, all these wants to be Chelsea fans, walk away now because we don't want you. Again, that's your opinion. Now, I'm going to go to Bobby. I know you understand the situation very well. What do you think, and what are you going to do if it happens? I know we could, with some, there are reasons to argue that it's never going to happen, but what if it happens? What are you going to do, Bobby?
Wow. You see, I have a problem with this in that the virtue signalers and the disharmonious content creators are having a field day. The first thing I'll say before I say anything else is that if you can be so easily dissuaded from supporting Chelsea, please go. We don't want you. Get out of here. We don't want you. Why are you even with us? Even if there are 100 people supporting Chelsea, I will stand with the 100. Get the hell out of my club. Look, there are so many controversies. This is what they want. I personally don't believe these guys are going to get the club. There is a process with which if you pass a certain level of process, you qualify to get to the next round. And if depending on how many tiers of qualification, you can keep going and going until it comes to a point where a certain level of due diligence and suitability to own the club comes to the fore. And quite clearly, these people are not popular. However, this is why I don't like religion or politics coming into sport in general and football in particular, because it's a very sensitive and emotive topic. I have to say this. The world is full of these sort of things. I mean, I'm just looking through, Googling the Ricketts emails. And to me, I haven't seen any racism. It's all Islamophobia. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Please. Because
you're very correct. In terms of the email, strictly, I think the email focuses on it. That is the Islamophobic comments. But there are instances also, like the pastor who reported the racist behavior.
Well,
so it was,
fine. Fine.
Yeah.
You know, the inclusion of racism in it is just to give it more impact, because that is, you know, people are more inflamed by that. And even within this, I'm seeing this Joe Ricketts guy apologizing. They've tried everything to backtrack. Now, Tyrone made a very, very important point. And I told you yesterday, racism is an institution. Let's not kid ourselves. We often like these sort of pretty covered up statements and things to try and pretend it doesn't exist. But we had a Chelsea captain that was accused of it quite vehemently by somebody, although he was acquitted, but that still stays. And, that still tells me that somewhere along the line, we're having to live with your snake, as it were, but we're having to manage it. When it comes to these sort of Islamophobic quotes, if you may call them that, they are abhorrent. Yes, it's terrible. I don't support it. However, as a Christian, crikey, Barack Obama himself, your United States president, how many times was he very sarcastic about Christianity? How many times do people speak out in derogatory terms to Christians? In fact, to call yourself a Christian nowadays is almost like a swear word. So let's keep it a bit real and calm down. I will not abandon. You can't kick me out of Chelsea. I'll kick you out. And if they are by any twist of madness given this position, okay, we can talk then. But I stand in my club, and you want to invest, you invest. I will watch you like a with a microscope, and then we can protest against them. But all this, they've done this, I'm offended, yada yada yada. Everybody has reason to feel offended about something. Our beloved Roman Abramovich, there are many people that feel he did things to offend them, especially people of Palestinian background. And he probably felt, for his religious reasons, that that was the right thing to do. Nobody's perfect, guys. People sometimes speak out of turn, out of either ignorance, out of either a background that has fed them misconceptions. But when you go into the arena of business, you've got to stick to the focus, keep to the objective. And to me, the objective is how badly they have run their other clubs, how badly they have treated staff by and supporters by increasing tickets and reducing wages. Those are heavy things to lay before them. The Islamophobia is bad enough, but we're living in a world, let's not pretend. These things happen. It just so happens that we can identify it with them. And they have, as far as I'm looking at on Google, they have apologized, tried to walk it back, they can't get away from it, and maybe rightly so. But I'm not going to start getting all hysterical about them solely because of that. I'm sorry. And I'm convinced they will not own my club. I'm convinced. If they do, then we have another conversation to have.
Yeah, exactly. That's a better way to round off your input there. I think I'm still hopeful it will never happen. And if it does, then there's another conversation on what to be done. But not for me. I'm not going to consider leaving my club, because if you leave, the snake relaxes and then feels at home, and then you're never going to get back in. But if you do something, find a way. If you believe in animal life matters, then you find a way to get it to the bush where it belongs and not in your home. So that's what I believe in. And if you leave your house with a snake, then it feels at home, and then you will never get back in. But that's, by the way, I'm going to read a few comments, and then I'll bring Stav in. Here, I want Stav's point. Yeah, Stav will get to speak soon. And Philip Smith says, Chelsea Football Club is our club. The Ricketts will never destroy our club. We won't allow them to do it. That's the spirit I want. You won't allow the snake to come inside and become the landlord. We should find a way to get rid of the snake and retake your home. That's how I see it. Again, I grew up, no need saying what religion I belong to, because I'm not a deeply religion. I do believe in a higher power. I was born into a Christian home, but the truth is, I can't. This is not something we should overlook. It's important. We shouldn't overlook the fact that they're Islamophobic. We shouldn't overlook the fact that they've made some racist comments which the pastor talked about. We played the video on the show the other day, how they treat their employees. Those things are all issues, not just racism alone. And G. Houston says, but we talking to Sadiq Worldwide, but we would need your help and others as content creators to help drive off the removal of Ricketts. Yeah, that's the point. Yes, exactly. We have the platform. we as content creators must not shy away from the issues. I think we lead the way for others to follow. We're the mouthpiece of the fans, if you ask me. We have to keep saying something. I am not for say I love Sadiq, but brother, I'm not with you saying you would distance yourself from Chelsea. No, if you have to speak up, if you speak up, you could say you have hundreds of thousands of followers that will listen to you and do the right thing, so that we, get the snake out of the house and then keep our house. I think this comment makes sense. Christian Davis said, I'm not surprised they are through to the next stage purely on the bank's recommendations. I don't think they will be anywhere in the final two when other factors come into play. I think that's what we're hopeful for. But the fact they're still there technically means they still have a chance. Until they're not there, then we can stop talking about them. But we need to continue talking about them. There's a chance, if you ask me, that the fact that they're in the final phase, in this second phase, if you like, because if they're still going to whittle it down to just 2 contenders, then there's another phase. If this is not the final phase, the fact they're still there, it's a concern. They may be trying our resolve to see if we, at the point, we say, you know what, let's just let it go. If they become the new Chelsea owners, so be it. Maybe they're trying our resolve. So we must keep speaking. We must keep speaking up. We must keep talking. Steve Chelsea said, I would never leave my club, regardless of the owner situation, as long as they can invest and buy players, build a young stars and women team. All owners can be 100% like Roman. Okay, that's up to you. That's how you see it. Well said, Bobby. Yes, very well said. Also, again, big up Bobby. Facts, and these are all people. Commend Bobby for his comment. And this says, Ricketts, the new owners stop support Chelsea Football Club. Again, and that is you. That's the way you want to deal with it. Again, we'll deal with situations differently. Remember, it's also the way they have run their club in the U.S. Yes, they probably run their clubs in the U.S. and doing well. And whoever takes over already know the project. The problem is if they can invest. Okay, that's you. That's how you see it. I'm coming to you now, Stav. What do you think about the situation? I know, please, let's not go into, but it's never going to happen. The fact is they're still part of the situation. And since they're part of the situation, you could argue there's a chance it will happen. And Stav, if it happens, what are you going to do and what do you think?
Right, okay. Let me clarify something first. They're in because they passed the parameters set down by the club. That's why they're in. I explained yesterday, if they pass all the parameters and you exclude them, then you have the potential to contest any decision later on. So they have to be allowed to go through that process.
Okay, right? Can we talk about why they're still part of the process later? Let's not give it away now.
No, I just want to, I can't be dealing with hearing words, the C word, corruption and all that stuff, right? That's why they're in. That's why they're in, right? The club chose the Raine Bank, right? We had this yesterday, right? I don't want to be the following day having to go through the same things again, right? That's why they're in, okay? Right? And then you have to trust in the club and hope that they don't get in. And even if they do, you'll never, ever, ever pass the Premier League's process, right?
The vetting process, yeah.
Right? They won't pass that, even if they were to get in.
The vetting process, so to speak. Yeah. Go ahead.
Right? And they probably won't even get past Boris Johnson, for starters, as well, right? So can we just leave that, right, and stop going corruption this and corruption that? So that's that out of the way, right? Secondly, at some point in this show, later on, I'm not letting this thing about John Terry slide. I'm not having that.
Yeah, sometime when you get a chance, yeah.
Yeah, later on, I want to. It has to be discussed, right? It has to be discussed, right? Now, getting back to
what you do. What you do, yeah.
Listen, right? I used to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, walk 5 miles to catch a bus from Middlesbrough to London to go to Stamford Bridge, sometimes in the rain and snow. Anybody who thinks I'm going to stop supporting Chelsea because of that, right, is dreaming. I used to be a club steward in the shed, right? And old Santa Claus, Ken Bates, right? He looked like a Father Christmas with his beard, right? And some people saw him as Father Christmas. Some of us saw him as the devil incarnate, hidden behind the beard, right? And come 1994, right, 22 years we haven't been in a major final. And as stewards, all we wanted was the opportunity to buy tickets for the final. And he didn't want to let us have that, right? So the stewards were going to go on strike. But he had stewards from an agency in coaches outside the stadium. But he relented and he sold us a ticket. We just wanted the right to buy a ticket, right? Not freebies. So that owner had his own agendas, his own issues, right? He saved the club first, but nearly killed it. Okay? And because he saw it as a business venture, a long-term business venture to make millions. And he did. Along comes Santa Claus, right, Roman Abramovich, and we've had Santa Claus for 365 days a year for 19 plus years, right? And nobody can compete with that. Nobody can compete with Roman. There isn't ever going to be another Roman, right? So I'm not going to stop supporting my club, right? And I'll make an admission here. My stepfather was a Muslim, right? I'm a Christian. My stepfather was a Muslim, right? And he would just laugh at this, right? What about, if you're so worried about somebody making an email, right, comment, right, and that's going to stop you from supporting your team, fine. I'll tell you what, instead of moaning about him, get out and moan about Israel's treatment of the Palestinian people, if you're that worried and that bothered. Football club is part of your life, right? It's not about agendas or racism or any of this kind of stuff. It's about your life. It's part of your life. So it's either in your blood or it isn't, right? And for me, it's in my blood, and that's been for 52 years, and I'm never going to stop it, even if the devil does come into my house, right? If woodworm comes into my house, I get rent to kill in and get it out. There you go. I've dropped the snake analogy as well, right? As for people like Phantom, right, and I'm going to use him as an example. Sorry, I didn't want to name him, so I'm going to use him as an example. He started supporting Chelsea, right, when we signed Pulisic, and he was a Dortmund fan before that, right? He come and he started supporting Chelsea because Pulisic came. He appeared on your show wearing a Dortmund shirt, right? That's laughable. So then you move on, and he's now threatening. He was threatening the other week to leave if Rudiger doesn't get a new deal, right? Sorry, that's not a proper fan. That isn't a proper fan. It's not in his blood. It's not in his heart. It's not in his mind. And we don't need that kind of supporter, right? Yes, I'm getting emotional because I'm hearing some right garbage here. My football club is part of my life, right? I support those 11 shirts when they cross that white line and go on the pitch, right? Not the person who's sat in the boardroom, not the person who's the owner, right? I support that for Chelsea Football Club, not the owner, right? So there's your answer. No way am I stopping, right?
Okay,
No
let me ask you this, Stav, because you made some very powerful points there, but also I think however we see things, we must also learn to see things from the perspective of the other person who found themselves either because they're Muslims, or because they're black, who feels probably see things differently than we do. But I want to ask you this, Stav. I want to hear you condemn the behavior in question. I know you made some great point. Condemn the behavior in question, either racism, either Islamophobic. I want to hear you talk about them. If the allegations, okay, you've seen the emails that said, what do you think about that behavior?
Right, listen, right. I don't like them. I don't want the Ricketts, right? But if
that's what I want to hear. Excellent. Tell
well,
us why.
You know that already. I've told you that, and I've said it on this show before.
Yes, this is just to clear the air, because somebody might hear you talk and not condemn the behavior, and then it causes another problem for you. Go ahead.
Can I make a point there? Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Although I was born in the UK and I'm a British citizen, right, my roots are set in Cyprus. Right, in 1974, a Muslim country invaded Cyprus on the behest of the CIA, right? NATO
No,
members.
can we not go into
No,
politics, Stan? I
hang on a
asked you.
minute.
No,
Hang on a
Stan.
minute.
I asked you a question.
I'm
You're gonna
answering
cause
your
me a lot
question.
of troubles
I'm
here. You're gonna cause
answering
me
your
trouble
question.
here.
I'm answering your question.
Yeah,
right?
that wasn't
I
the
didn't,
question. I was gonna
I
say,
didn't
but go
immediately.
ahead. Go ahead,
I,
Stan. Go
I
ahead.
didn't immediately start hating all Muslims, did I? Right? I
Go
didn't
ahead.
start
Go ahead.
hating all Muslims, right? I didn't start hating all Americans, okay? Right? I hated the consequences. I hate I dislike the Ricketts, and I don't want them, but my football club comes first, right?
Exactly. Let's keep it to the Ricketts. Exactly. Now
I
you're
don't
speaking.
base my hatred, no. I don't base my hatred on things that have happened, right, outside of my life, right, in my life, right, away from my
That's a
football
better
club.
way to put it, and I
Right?
understand. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so that's why I mentioned it. And then my mum married a Muslim. So what's wrong with that, right? So I haven't got an issue, right? You can't say that I'm just saying it because I'm not a Muslim, right? Because I'm pro-Palestinian as well. So there's that one, right, to go with it. So yes, I'm angry about their background, right? I don't like their background, but it's got nothing to do with my football club. If they come in and become the owners, so what, right? So what?
Points made. Points made. Now, I think you made a very good point, and now I understand why you want to mention how who invaded on behalf of who you mentioned. But I think a better way to put it, like the way you did, you have every reason not to. I don't know how else to explain it, but I get your point. You made your point clear. Fahim, do you have any other input given everything you've heard? Have you changed your mind, or are you still saying you're going to stop supporting Chelsea if it happens?
Look, I'll stick to. I'll say I'll distance myself, like Worldwide Charles said. I don't think many people will understand. So.
Yeah, the fact is, a lot of people will understand, and again, that's how you want to. Deal with the situation, and that is you. Now, let's move to the next question. Again, I think it was staff that they tried to staff explain why he think they made it to this stage. But that's, by the way, we'll talk about that later. Let me ask this question now. I'll start with you, Nick Blue. I think I already have a feeling you what you're going to tell me, but I want you to say it yourself. If this happens, what would be the best way to protest? Because I don't know if you guys want me to again restate my analogy, but I don't think it's irrelevant right now. We understand I believe everybody understood my analogy. But the question is, if it happens, what will be the best way to protest? Because keeping quiet isn't the best thing to do. And if it happens, the truth is, I'm not going to keep quiet. That's the best. I'll come to you. I'm not going to keep quiet. I have a platform, and the best thing to do for the club I love so much will be to use the platform I have, because I know I can reach a lot of people, and I appreciate all the support I get. I will find a way to educate them. This is what you do, so that we get the snake out of our house and keep our house. And for you, Nick Blue, what do you think? What will be the best way to protest if it happens? And again, I'm hopeful it won't happen. That's every reason for me to believe it will never happen.
A big if, but say it does happen. Like what you said, you're right. You're spot on about your channel. It's one of the best channels out there. Plus,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
There's a few more channels like yourself who are Muslim. I don't want to name names, but who are Muslim streamers, like you and Fakim and Worldwide Chelsea, and they're Muslim, deep down Muslim, but they not living their club. They said it a million times, and their channel is good because of that. It's getting even bigger because they know what to say. Yeah, of course we're going to go out and protest. If it does happen, we will turn up in our thousands, and the only way is we can protest is by our voices. We can't, go into the boardroom and assassinate Ricketts. We can only shout with our voices, and I'm sure we will if that happens, which is not going to happen. I guarantee it. I keep saying it. But just to save it, that's the best way. And the best another ways like you on your channel, like Gem, like Blue Lounge, like they're all Muslims. Not like we're Christian, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what religion you are. We're all against these Ricketts. Doesn't matter. We're not racist, and we don't like racists. Strictly against that. That's the main thing.
That's it. Yeah. Thank you. And thank you for that input there. Again, it doesn't matter our religion. It doesn't matter. Again, your color. We're all against racism, and we're all against Islamophobia. It shouldn't be happening. We don't want our club to be known as a club who has an owner who's done this before. But then again, the question is, what will be the best way to protest if eventually it happens? Because again, I'm going to repeat my analogy. I own a house, and if a snake comes into the house, I'm not going to run away and leave my house for the snake to become the new occupant of the house or new owner of the house if you want. I will find a way to do away with the snake. If I'm against, if you want to call it animal cruelty, if I kill the snake, but I'm never going to kill the snake. I'll find a way to make sure it goes out, and I'll keep my house. I think that's the best option to do. Now, let's read some comment, and then I'll come to Bobby. Philip Smith said Chelsea have always stuck together, and we will always stick together. We will overcome this. And here's the thing: this comment highlights something. Since the emergence of all the issues with the Ricketts, the possibility of the Ricketts becoming new owners of Chelsea Football Club, I have never, since my lifetime, since I've followed Chelsea, see Chelsea fans stick together as they are right now. So it will be concerning if eventually, if by any chance they emerge as the new Chelsea owners, we have divisions amongst us, then they're winning. They are going to win, and then we're giving them a chance to practically do with our club what we've heard they've done with their own club. So I don't think, some of us are giving up on the club is the best option. That's just on me. That's how I see it. And Steve Chelsea says, yeah, Steve Chelsea, you made good point. Okay, you're trying to say, I don't know, maybe, yeah, Chelsea perspective made a good point. Anything can happen. And Pierre says, according to the paper today, only 4.04% Manchester United fans support the Glazers, but the fans do not walk away from the club because of that. That's another great point. That's the way they voice their dislike of the Glazers. They say how much they make it clear vehemently. You can hear them, see them on channels and on what's a terrace channel, Football Terrace. You see them on Green Turf, on all these big channels on voicing their dislike of the Glazers, but they don't walk away from their club. They still support their club, but they're trying to find a way to do away with those owners. And I think we have to keep speaking. We have to keep us speaking our minds. We don't let the snake keep the house. We have to find a way to do away with the snake. Coming to you, Tobago, what do you think? I'll come to Bobby and then and all this on the panel in a bit. Tobago, what do you think would be the best way to protest if eventually it happens?
To be honest, do you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you crystal clear.
Okay, so I think, to be honest, like we are reading the rumors every day. The report from Metlo and stuff. If they are Ricketts, they are close buying Chelsea Football Club, I think is the right time to protest than like now. Now we are not clear what is going to happen this week. So now we need just to be ready in case if those guys come to own Chelsea, the fans need to be ready. I know the fans, unfortunately, the fans doesn't have money or have a lot of a say who owns the club, but how can they allow people who will run the club and then the fans will be unhappy? So they must just think so. Everything is run perfectly. So hopefully not the Ricketts, man.
Okay, I get your point. So I'm going to come to you, Tarana. What do you think would be the best way to protest if it happens? Okay, let me just go to Bobby. Bobby, what do you think would be the best way to, to protest if this happens? If at the end they emerge as the new owners of Chelsea Football Club, what would be the best way to protest?
Now, if they do become Chelsea owners,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that will say about the fit and proper processes of the FA, and indeed the vetting process for people owning football clubs. So that's another matter.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just pretend that in the unlikely this happens. I'll ask myself, what am I protesting?
Mm-hmm.
What exactly am I protesting in the immediate term? I would wait and see what they do. As I said earlier, I'll keep a very close eye on the things that they do, and then we'll be put in a position where we have to respond accordingly. Somebody made a very, very valid point, which I really didn't want to mention because I refuse to teach people how to support my club. Either it's in your heart or it isn't. And if it's not in your heart and you feel it's just something you can play with and use to get off on whatever, disharmony happens in the
Mm-hmm.
club, then, I'm not interested in you, And all I'm just saying is that United fans, as they are, they have a lot of things they didn't like about the Glazers, but they kept quiet and they revealed their discontent with every action they've taken. Now, one could say this is a bit different, but I think it's quite similar. I really do. It's not the first time people have been offended by, I know they like to say racism, but I haven't seen, although you seem to allude to the racist comments by them, but I haven't seen that. I've seen the Islamophobic thing. And as far as the last time I checked, Islam wasn't a race, but a religion. But that aside, that's irrelevant. That is bad enough, what they said in the past. But it is in the past. And they have apologized for it. And so many people of other faiths and other positions have had far more indignations against them, but they haven't gone berserk. They wait to respond at the right time. As I said, I alluded to the fact that Roman Abramovich, he is forever loved at Chelsea. But you talk to one or two other people from the Middle East, and they will point to things that he's associated with that they don't believe in, that really hurts them. Does it stop them supporting the club? Absolutely not. Does it stop them praising Roman for what he's done for the club? Absolutely not. So I'm just saying perspective. I'm not going to go crazy and be threatening fire and brimstone to something that has, one, is unlikely to happen. Two, if it does, we have to see how it pans out before reacting. That's the only point I'm making.
Okay, I think you make a great point. Again, that's how you want to, deal with the situation, and it makes sense also. How about you, Stav? What do you think will be the best way to protest should they emerge as the new owners of Chelsea Football Club?
The protest will come from the people inside the stadium, just like it did with the incident at Paris Saint-Germain on the metro. The very following week, there was banners out all over around the stadium, right? Saying there's no colour but blue, okay, right? They're the ones who are going to get the biggest protest because they're there in the stadium, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've learned, right, to separate aspects of my life without it affecting another aspect. And for me, my love for Chelsea doesn't come into my politics, okay? It doesn't come into my preferences for other things. I don't criticise Roman for his business practices, which we all know isn't exactly squeaky clean. There are a couple of other things that I know that others might not know, but I'm not going to discuss them because, as far as I'm concerned, right, it's Chelsea Football Club, and that's the entity that I support, not an owner, not an individual player, right? Okay, not any individual, not any owners or anything like that. I support Chelsea Football Club. Have done it for 52 years. I ain't changing, right? And the thing is, we're all getting angry now and head up. Even me, yeah, I'm upset about this whole thing, right? But we've been told that the father's not involved, and he's the one who made the comment. And we're all getting upset now and getting angry over nothing. That's what the media wants. They want the response right now without them even getting the club. They want the fans to be responding. Why? Because when the Chelsea supporters just start kicking off, it goes in the papers. They sell a few papers. They get a few extra clicks and all this kind of stuff. Right? The Chelsea supporters just need to be dealing with the club, with Marina, with Bruce Buck and all that lot. Right? They don't need to be running to the media every 5 minutes. We had this situation before when Roman said he wanted to put it into the foundation, right? The very first time before he even said he was going to sell it, and they were on Sky TV complaining. Oh, well, they haven't spoken to us about it. We don't know what's going on, and they went straight to Sky TV. That's one of the worst places you can go, is Sky TV, because they have their own agendas and issues, right? And they want to stir it, right? I'm not going to get carried away with the Ricketts thing. I've already said there's a due process, and they pass those due processes, and they have to be allowed to put a bid in, because if they don't allow them to put the bid in, having passed that due process, we could then end up having problems later on, right? And they start taking legal action and things like that, and that will kill us. That will kill Chelsea Football Club. We cannot afford to be in court for too long, because Roman could quite easily have refused to sell the club because it's his property, and he could have took the British government to court, right, and contested and fought it, right? But Roman hasn't done that because he knows it's a lengthy process, right? He knows we won't have a license to play, and we won't survive. So that doesn't help the Chelsea pitch owners, doesn't help the Chelsea supporters, doesn't help the Chelsea fans in the stadium, doesn't help everybody around the world who says they're a Chelsea fan, right? That's just calm down, get over it, and relax, right, and wait for the process. I've just seen on Sky TV, all the people who are still in the thing have until April the 11th to make their final offers, because they've been asked to prove they're going to spend at least $1 billion, right, on the club with regards to teams and the structure of the club. Then there's the additional bit about the stadium. So they've all got to now put bids in by the 11th of April, which is 2 weeks tomorrow. I believe my mathematics, right? So yeah, we all wanted it to be done quickly. We all want to know what's going on, right? But I'm not going to get all knee-jerk about it and start getting excited and saying I'm going to pack in support of my team. I don't care. If somebody comes and pokes me in the eye, right, and his name's Ricketts, right, I'll poke him in the eye back and I'll still support my club, even if he's the owner. I'm not packing in supporting my club. It's too deep set into me, right? It surpasses my religion. It surpasses my my skin colour and all that, right? It's my club. That's it. End of story. I can't say no more than that. So calm down, wait and see. By the 11th of April, all bids have to be in, right? And then we'll start getting more information. And then once those bids go in, they've all been told that the thing has to be completed by the end of April, that their bid has to be in, the money has to be lodged, right? Ready for it, and then they go to the government, right? So we just have to be patient. It's as simple as that. But whatever happens, I'm not stopping supporting my club for nobody. didn't stop supporting him for Ken Bates, right? Who I didn't really, although I respected that he came in and tried to keep the club going. Ultimately, I knew that he was trying to make a profit out of it. I didn't stop supporting it because of him. Then a Russian comes in, and at the very beginning, they don't know what he's going to do. It wasn't enough just that he was spending money on the team. I wanted to know what he was going to do in other aspects, in other spheres, right? And then he went and built a training ground. He went and built in Cobham and all this, right? Because I've seen the old training ground. I've been down there, right? And that's when I started respecting Roman. Not just the buying the players. Then he brings top managers in. And if they're not doing the job, he gets rid of them. And we can keep winning, and we have success. Well, now it's still my football club, and I supported them when they got relegated, right, in the playoffs against Middlesbrough. And my life was made a misery for the whole year whilst we were in the second division and they were in the first division. For the whole year, my life was made a misery. Didn't stop me supporting my club. Could have quite easily switched to Middlesbrough just for peace and quiet. You support Chelsea, right, and you take everything that goes with it and you just fight back if you don't like something. Anyway, that's it. I'm done. But don't walk away from the John Terry thing, because I'm not having what's being said.
Yeah, when you get a chance to talk about that, but I want to say something, and I think it'd be good. I don't know if Ty Talk is out. It'd be good to start with Declad. He hasn't spoken now. Declad, let me ask you this before I go to the next question. Declad, I know you understand the question very well because I've asked about 3 people about it. What do you think? What would be the best way to protest if eventually this happens? But before that, I want to say, wherever you're watching from, we're about right now. We are at 988 subscribers. That is about 12 more subscribers to hit 1,000 subscribers. I think you can help us reach there by sharing the stream so that other people can join us. And also reaching out to any Chelsea fans you know that enjoys good content to subscribe to the channel, because they will not regret that. And to answer your question, Philip Smith, who said, I've enjoyed the stream. Would there be another one today? It depends. If something comes up, if there's any need for an emergency stream, we will schedule one immediately. But we're still here at the moment because we have a lot to talk about. And let me see if there's any comment to read here. It says, Philip Smith, we're live almost every day. Yeah, it's every day. The Blue Morning Show, it's a daily show, 11 a.m. UK every day. This is just him saying thank you to Steve Chelsea, and GUV 1905 says really starting to like this channel. Thank you very much. That means a lot to us. So coming to you, Declan, you let us know, what do you think will be the best way to protest if this happens? I know, again, I could argue too, if you give me a chance, that it will never happen, but there's a reason why I'm concerned, because to me, I don't think they should have made it to this phase at all in the first place, like you mentioned yesterday. So, and Declan, by the way, I must let you know you're the one that got me concerned by your comments yesterday. You go ahead.
Well, I've been patiently waiting because I got to address some things. I can't believe some of the people in this chat has played down the Ricketts situation, and I don't think they know enough, because not only Ricketts' emails was between 20, like wasn't just a one-off. It was a string of emails between 2009, 2013. This whole family is evangelical Christians, hardcore, and they share their views with everyone. I mean, they made homophobic comments. They've players that have domestic violence suspensions, and you think they'll get rid of them. They got them back in the team. They've made controversial political views. They put so much money into political campaigns to get away with so much stuff, and it's a whole family. And to think, the father's not involved. The father is the head of the trust money, and that's where the money comes from. So you got to be deluded to think you can separate that, right? Now I'm going to start on the club side, the Chicago clubs, and what's happened. And this is going to be important to see how you protest, because not only have they made pay cuts, job cuts, what else they've made? They've been crying poor for a long time. They've brought in a marquee network. They put the club in $1 billion debt. The tickets are the most expensive to go watch at a club's game, right? They've got no plans for team investment. The whole the whole fan base wants them out. So the
Hold on,
Ricketts are very
let me hear
conditioned.
this again. Their U.S. club is in $1 billion debt.
Yeah, they're in $1 billion debt.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and there's also problems at that club because of it's not one Ricketts family running it; it's multiple, and there's sibling infighting as well. So everyone wants them out. The Ricketts are conditioned, right, for everyone wanting them out, and they don't leave, right? Everyone says the club stadium is one of the worst, needs repairing, right? They don't fix that, and now you guys and a lot of people have said, if you don't want to support the club, get out. Now, why address that before? And I asked, maybe I take a break, right? And maybe when Fatim said maybe I won't support, because it's exactly that pride, right? That Chelsea pride, that team pride that everyone has, is how these guys suck you in, right? And keep you there. And Ricketts will never leave because of that pride you guys have, right? That pride that everyone has, and to criticize everyone, right? To say, yep, I'm a match going fan, this long, this, that. And they know that. The owner knows that. And the owner's going to jack up the price. The owner's going to put the club in debt. He's going to milk the club all he wants. He's going to start selling you. He's going to start putting new merchandise out that you're going to buy, right? You guys, and because of that pride, you're going to buy it all. You're going to buy it all. And so when you say, how do we protest?
One second, just a quick question. 1 minute. Wait, 1 second. Look at Man United with the Glazers. How 4% of the whole fan base they don't want him. I mean they're with him 4%. The rest they don't want him, and they still have 70,000 fans supporting Man United, the team, not the owner. They hate the owner, but they still support their team. That's what we're trying to say to you.
Yeah, and they've done protests, and Glazers would never leave. And the Glazers just buy players, right? And every time they do transfers, right, the fan base settles, right, and they get hope, and then they protest again. And the Glazers are happy with this, right? And if the Ricketts, you think the Ricketts are going to do the same? The Ricketts are worse than the Glazers, right? But but you brought up the Glazers, and that's a perfect example. The Glazers are not going nowhere, yeah. You seen any signs of Glazers anywhere?
Yeah, but look,
you seen any signs of Bronchi going anywhere?
We don't support Ricketts.
Yeah, but look, Nick,
we don't
these were big players.
Nick, hold on, guys. Nick, let them finish. I'll come to you and you let me know what you think, please. Okay?
Yeah,
if you don't mind, Nick.
I'm bringing all this up, right? And these are perfect examples, and you can see those examples in other clubs too, right? Just like Arsenal, just like everyone wants the owners out, right? And they don't leave. They're also big. They'll play the big players in getting the Super League. So they actually got hope. They're hopeful that they're going to stick around. The Super League's going to happen, right? So to think, in the analogy, to get that snake out of your house, to think that if Ricketts come in, you can easily get him out. You guys got like no idea on getting them out, because the same criticism you gave when people said they don't want to support, or like me, I said I'm trying to work out what's the best way to get the owner to go against the owner and support the club. It's a very hard question. What do? You almost have to walk away. You almost have to stop supporting, right, Chelsea in order to get the Ricketts out. And then once the Ricketts out, you come back. It almost comes to that, because every time you buy anything, anything you go, every time you support, every time you watch, anything you do, right, it's going to keep the Ricketts in. And he's got a worse history, and he's not going to go without a fight. He will take down the club with him. He'll put so much debt. He'll milk the club as much as you can think. I got echo somewhere.
If you're not talking, please mute your mic, because the echo can be very irritating to the person talking, to everybody on the panel. Go ahead, Declan.
Yeah, so coming back. Yeah, still got echo. Come back to that point.
Okay, let me mute mine. Maybe it's
blue.
All right. It's like Nick, what are you doing to me, mate?
Go ahead, Declan. I don't think it's Nick. Nick is on mute.
It's a bit hard when
Yes.
All right. Basically, what I'm trying to sum up is.
Was you asking?
No. Just checking your mic, Nick.
Go ahead, Declan. Go ahead. He's on mute now. Everybody's on mute.
All right. So what I'm trying to get at is it your mic? Oh, it's still echo. It's pretty loud.
See again. I mean, I think everybody's on mute right now. I think it's just you. I'm gonna mute myself last, so it's a
I'm
mute.
here myself.
That's you here. I'm not gonna mute you. Nick is on mute. Bobby is always on mute when he's not talking. Tyrone is on mute. Stav is on mute. Showtime is also on mute. So maybe it's yourself.
I'm using a headset. So it shouldn't echo.
So go ahead.
Yeah, basically, what I'm saying is that when we question what we can do in terms of protest, you can go to the State Bridge all you want. You can shout whatever, and nothing's going to happen because, like I just mentioned, the Ricketts are conditioned, right? Worse than you think the Glazers and the Cronkies and like that, those types. No, he's been conditioned, and I even read an article just recently that they've that even their own media over there is criticizing them because they've been crying poor, but they have no money, and now they're buying Chelsea, right? So now everyone's asking them questions as well on what they've been doing. So once the Ricketts get in, he'll take down the club with him, and if you're going to sit there and say, well, I still support the club and I hate the owners, you're never going to get him out. He's never going to leave. And what he's going to do to you, he's going to milk you dry. He's going to milk that pride that everyone's talking about dry. That pride of well, I'm still going to support the club regardless, right? Well, when he jacks up the price, you're going to pay it. When he increases the price of the merchandise that you have to pay, and then he even tried, and he got booed when he was announcing to everyone. He even tried to do a marquee network or pay-per-view, right? So imagine him monetizing pre-season videos, like training videos and everything, and just marketing everything. And he knows that you're all dumb enough to pay for it. He knows that Chelsea fans, you're a fan, you do whatever, and you know you pay for it. And then to think on top of all that he's going to leave, and you're going to get him out. There's no chance, and it might take you to walk away from the club to actually get him out. It might take a lot of people to walk away from the club to actually hit his pocket and get him out of there. I mean, that's how extreme we're talking about. That's why I said he shouldn't even be in the shortlist. And the same, yeah, I know. Stav didn't want to say corruption. It doesn't matter. This guy has a history of buying political influence, and he's probably bought influence here too. I mean, everyone's talking about the Raine Groups and the Ricketts going way back.
Bobby, I'll come to you, Bobby, in a bit. Declan, are you done?
I can go all day.
No, I know you can, but you haven't told us. So you said that you don't have any idea on the best way to protest the issue that happened.
I basically said that it is a real hard question, and it might take even walking away from the club to get someone like the Ricketts out. That's how extreme. There's no protest that's going to get him out. That's why I'm worried that they're even in the shortlist and they even have a chance at the club, because once they get in, you're not getting him out.
Showtime, welcome to the panel. Bobby, you want to come in immediately, or are you going to wait so I can bring in Showtime and come back to you?
If you don't mind, I just have a comment to make.
Go ahead, Bobby. Showtime, please just let him come in now that he has something to say, given with regards to what the class points.
Sorry, Showtime. Look. We hear all the demerits of the Ricketts, and to be honest, nobody's really disputing that. But all we are saying, you see, it's very reactive. to be telling people that maybe it mean, people, especially people like myself, that was born and bred almost in the Chelsea area, lived close to a lot of the players that played in the 80s and the late 70s. Chelsea's in my blood. I'm not walking away for anybody. And it's very easy to, okay, you point out the demerits of these people, where they are and the things they've done, which I don't doubt. But you're failing to see that, look, they haven't been given the club. They are in a process, and Stav has taken his time to explain the reason why. Now, another thing that's a little bit, I should be a little bit cautious with, is also insinuating to people who live and go to the stadium to start demonstrating. I mean, that is not really a progressive thing. When you gather a lot of people together to protest, it can very easily become a situation, especially football fans. Now, I don't want to see that, especially based on a presumption. So we need to be a little bit careful saying that, and knowing that we won't be one of those people that will be triggered into getting themselves into big trouble. Let's wait and see what the process turns out to be, because do you know what? We can't do anything else. Now, the only thing, if you must register your discontent at the Ricketts, is being done now. All over social media, there is no to the Ricketts. Conveniently, they've stopped allowing Chelsea fans to be able to purchase tickets to home games. But I'm quite sure if this goes on till then, you'll see no to Ricketts there. So people are already protesting. So anything more than that, I think is ill advised, personally.
Yeah, I think you make a good argument there. And with that, Tavago understood that if you have a low battery, you can always come in later. No problem, bro. I understand. Thank you very much. And I want to say welcome to the channel to Toyin, the Golden Toyin. If you haven't, please do subscribe to the channel to help us reach the first 1,000. And we have about just 12 more subscribers to get there. That means a lot to us. Let me see if I can read some comments here. Then I'll go to the next person. Pierre here says 30.3% approve the Arsenal owners, by the way, and 92.5% approve of Roman Abramovich. That's some yawning difference, if you ask me. Chelsea fans love Roman so much. And this, I don't know if there's any other thing to read here. This is declared in stereo. That's a question. Note to Ricketts. Phrase, oh, nice to see you again. Best followers, print, and viewers on. I'm not sure what this guy is talking about. And for 100% sure, I will leave Chelsea again. That is you. Now coming to you. Who do we still have here? We have the Clad. I think I'll start with Showtime. Showtime, let us know, what are you going to do if it happens that if the Ricketts emerge as the new owners of Chelsea Football Club? What are you going to do?
Well, first and foremost, good afternoon, good morning. Thank you for having me. Big up Nick's Blue. Big up Nick Blue.
You're always welcome. You're always welcome, bro.
For me, I'm not going nowhere. I'm actually tired of the talk of who's our new owner. I don't know if there's echo, but I'm sorry about that.
Mm-hmm.
No to the Ricketts, you can trend all at once, but the time to protest isn't now. It's too late. The perfect time to protest was when the sanctions first dropped on Abramovich and the club. Where was the big urge to protest then? Fans were afraid of the optics of, oh, we're supporting Putin and all this other stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
being all realistic, and honestly, to be honest, the best time to protest was then. And now you're just wasting your breath, your time, and your effort, and your space and your money to go out there and
Mm-hmm.
protest something that you have no control over. And it's not like it's not the fact that they're the winners. They didn't win anything. They're still in the process. They had probably the best they were probably financially stable enough to move up to the next process. We just gotta accept that. But for us to think that, oh, we have a say in who will be the owner is laughable. We have no say. At the end of the day, if you wanted to protest, you should have protested when it was most important.
Okay, but you haven't told me. You said you're not going anywhere if
I'm not going
if
anywhere.
eventually they emerge as the new owners of Chelsea Football Club, but you haven't said why.
Because at the end of the day, it's the badge over. I, look, I was corrected when I once said Abramovich is Chelsea, or the we are Chelsea, or I'm Chelsea, you're Chelsea. It's more
Mm.
so people correct me and say no, the badge over anything. So I'm gonna go with what the majority say, the badge over everything. So if the owner comes in and we don't like the owner, what is there that we can do? You see all the rest of the small clubs in the world, like the Arsenals and whatsoever, don't like their owner. They've been protesting their owner for how long? And is he still the owner? Yeah. There's nothing we can do once he's the owner. At the end of the day, we're just gonna have to deal with it. But does that overshadow the fact that the most important time to protest was when Abramovich was sanctioned and when Chelsea was sanctioned?
Yeah, that's it. Showtime, can I just say, yeah, what you were saying is so true. Because, I was there waiting for everyone, but no one turned up. And I'm still sick about that. It would
Exactly.
never pass me.
So if there was, see, Nick Blue organized something for the fans to come out to. And okay, I understand some people are busy with their day to day, but the optics was some people were offended because they don't want to seem like they're supporting Putin, or they're worried about what the media perceives them as. The media is already using Chelsea as a scapegoat, or always attacking us. We're always on the attacking side. We're never on the defending side. This was a time for us to get out there and defend our club, our badge, our owner, our team, our structure. But we failed to do that as fans. Now we have to deal with the consequence of the Ricketts
Let me
being
ask you this, Showtime. You clearly said you don't think protesting will make any difference. Should the Ricketts take over Chelsea Football Club, right?
correct.
So do you think protests will also make a difference if the fans went out on the streets and start protesting sanctions against Roman?
It would have made a difference in the beginning. Now it makes no difference because it's
How,
official.
how possible? Can you tell me how you
Because
think it is possible for that to
because
protest against the? Yeah, go ahead.
when something is fresh, I'm gonna use the BLM movement. When it was fresh and hot and it's a trending topic, it was a way for us to pivot the sanctions or pivot the narrative that okay, Roman Abramovich is a bad owner, or Roman Abramovich has something to do with the war. That was where it started from. Parliament got their hands on the spin because we as fans didn't defend our owner. But it's not, some people would say it's not our obligation to defend our owner, but it's our obligation to defend the person that runs and spends money on our club and is the face of our club when it comes to who is the owner of our club. At the end of the day, we had the time and opportunity to take this narrative that the media put out there and spin it. But we didn't take the opportunity. We let it go by and let them big up who could be the next owner of Chelsea. Oh, these sanctions, Chelsea can't do this, do that, do that. Oh, Abramovich can't do this and that. But we didn't defend it. We didn't defend the club, nor did we defend the owner. We did. We just let it
Okay,
go.
okay, okay. I'll come back to you. I think I understand your input there, and I'm gonna have. I think I'd like Bobby to respond to tell me whether he believes it had Chelsea fans protested when the sanction first hit, that they would have made a difference. But before that, I want to read the comment. And this is Phantom of Many Topics says, I've been a Chelsea fan only since, yeah, that's a long time ago. You've been a long, yeah. Leaving this team will be easy. Good for you. Good for you. So it's not a
He
problem for
wasn't
you
really a
at
Chelsea
all.
fan.
Yeah, and he
He wasn't a
says,
Chelsea fan.
yeah, if this was 1932 and Hitler took over Chelsea, are you staying? Let me tell you something.
What is this? What
I
is this
think,
narrative?
hold on. Let me tell you something. Had Germans,
Ricketts didn't kill anybody.
had Germans stood up against Hitler,
Oh my
we wouldn't
lord,
have
man.
the issues we had then during the Second World War. And if Russians gave up, Hitler would have, taken over Russia. Had the Britons stood still and take the bombs that landed in England and in some places in the UK, we will be talking about a different scenario right now. So the best thing will be to fight it and not let it happen. So I don't think this. I'm sorry, you're my friend, and I see you as a brother, but I don't think this that is comparing it to the Hitler situation makes sense at all. It doesn't, because
They didn't kill anybody. They aren't
exactly,
responsible
yeah,
for
exactly. It doesn't in any
hundreds of
way.
people's
So
deaths.
maybe you need to rethink the analogy you use. Ty,
Yeah,
you want to
man.
say something quickly so that I can go to Bobby? I wanted Bobby to respond to answer whether a protest would have stopped the sanction in any way. But you go ahead if you want to say something. Ty, are you there, or you want me to go to Bobby?
You can go to Bobby. I'm still thinking about what I want to say.
Okay, so Bobby, coming to you, you heard Showtime say complaining. It's a complaint, yeah. Showtime, am I right? It's a complaint that we didn't protest. He believed when we should have protested. That was when the sanction first hit Roman. And I asked him if it would have made a difference. He said yes. Bobby, do you think so, or do you think otherwise?
I mean, first of all, I have to just say that, I know Phantom of Many Colors through another platform. I kind of like the guy, but I got to say, I mean, he is one of the reasons why most of us English don't take American fans seriously. I'm not surprised by what he's saying, because I don't think he is a Chelsea fan in the same context as the majority of us on this platform or in this panel. As far as protesting the sanctions, this is a difficult one because, Chelsea fans, one, they're very intelligent. Two, they're very brave. I've seen them over the decades. I mean, even in the dark days when things were unsavory, Chelsea fans were no pushovers. Physically, they would stand to the last man. Emotionally, they support the club and they stand up for the club, and not least when the European Super League issue came out, it was Chelsea fans that first came out in their droves to protest it. And funnily enough, it was Chelsea fans who were so orderly when Petr Cech came and reassured them that it's gone to Roman, it's being sorted out. Immediately, they backed off. That goes to show you how organized, how intelligent, and how prepared they are to stand up for what they feel is right for the club. Now, the sanctions. There was a certain measure of emotional blackmail going on with that. And I say it for want of a better word that comes to my mind at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
In that, you see, the fans, I mean, Chelsea fans were blindsided. They were kept in a double-minded situation.
Mm-hmm.
Roman Abramovich, we love him to the hilt. And I can assure you that had it been under any other type of condition, Chelsea fans would have come out smoking for Roman. When all the other club owners were being attacked by the media, even by their own fans, Chelsea fans said, no, Roman is out of bounds. He is Chelsea. He's one of us, and we stand with him. But this is a different scenario. We're being told he has some affiliation with people waging war, where people are getting killed. I mean, this is serious stuff. Then, we're being told that, look, we can't associate with him because of that. They're sanctioning everybody that has associations with Mr. Putin, and he so happens to be one of them. Now, where do you go from there? Well, I mean, no, everybody was put in a state of mourning because we know what Roman is. We watched him. We've seen him kick every ball with us. We've seen how he invests. He's even written off 1.5 billion. Let me see another rich man that will do that kind of thing. He loves Chelsea. We know this. And most of us in our hearts can't imagine him having anything to do with, or directly to do with brutality. I still doubt it to this day. I think, okay, he knew
Can I
this
ask
guy,
you
but
something? One second. You're making these good points. Very good. But at the time, why didn't Chelsea fans turn up? It's still, I don't understand it. Roman
okay,
didn't start the war. He's a citizen. He was born in Ukraine. We are
I'll
against
answer
the
that.
Russian war. We
I'll
we
answer
all
that.
know that. But why didn't they turn up? That's why it gets to me.
Okay, I mean, I'll skip all the other points and I'll come straight to that. Why Chelsea fans were stunned. They didn't know how to react. They didn't know how to react. They were waiting for any sort of facts or justification to what has happened. Until now, all we see is a whole load of propaganda, if you like. And so they hesitated. They had empathy for what was going on in Ukraine. And at the same time, they had disappointments, almost disgust as to what was happening to Roman. They were torn. And that left to no action. You can't take action until you're completely, shall I say, compelled by a situation. But we were torn. We're looking at people getting killed somewhere, and then our owner being accused, and it was just chaos within the minds of Chelsea fans. That's why they didn't take to the streets for Roman. To this day,
Yeah,
when they
but
were
we were
told not to
accused.
sing his
Roman
name,
was
did they
accused.
stop?
Roman was accused by a corrupt government, and all the fans, all Chelsea fans, know.
Please, we're not talking about the government here. We don't want to get. I don't want the channel to be shut down after all the hard work we've put in here, and we've all been part of the hard work. Please, we don't want to talk about the government. This is no politics. We're talking about whether Chelsea fans could have, made a difference had they protested the sanctions. So go ahead,
It
Bobby. You
wouldn't
were
have
still
made a
responding to
difference.
his answer. Yeah.
It would have been.
Wouldn't
It
have
would have
made a
been actually
difference, and
worse.
if
Media would have
anything, it
spun
would
that
have
as
made
if it was
things
supporting the
worse.
war.
Okay. So
It would
Declan,
have
can you
made
take it
things
from there? Then
10
I'll go.
times worse.
Bobby is still saying something. When Bobby is done, Declan, I want you to come in and let me what you know. Then I'll go what you think, and then I'll go to Stab. Go ahead, Bobby.
Yeah, I'm saying that it wouldn't have made a difference. If anything, it would have made things 10 times worse. As it stands, at one stage, the media was more or less indirectly accusing Chelsea of being involved in that war. All their insinuations were pointing at Chelsea, as if we had anything to do with it. So if we come out demonstrating, and that we would just be adding fuel to their fire. So it's a good thing that the fans didn't come out.
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to take this opportunity to say blue morning to you all, to you, to Mikael, and then blue morning to Joe Boy, a bigger panel. Don't worry, Todd's coming with his FSG style approach to lead us to new glory. No to Ricketts.
That's a
Joe
good
the
one.
boy, I think this is the first time I'm seeing you here. And please, if you haven't, we've now hit 990 subscribers. We just need a 10 to get to 1,000 subscribers today, and I do believe it will happen today. He says no to the Ricketts. Yes, no to the Ricketts. I say that wholeheartedly. That's who I am, and I'm so hopeful that I don't think I still part of me, but still strongly believes that they will not emerge as new Chelsea owners, but was discussing it for the fact that they're part of the shortlist, and since they're there. Technically, they can still become the new owners because they're still there. Until they're not part of the process, then we can say, yes, they're done and dusted. We were never going to see them. And 216 Basement Flip says, I don't think Roman has anything to do with the war in Ukraine. I don't think so either. To the extent that Zelensky himself asked the U.S. government not to sanction him, and it's not been sanctioned in the United States, so that makes sense. But I think it's a bit too late for the UK to say, okay, we're not sanctioning you. It wouldn't make sense. I don't think they can justify that if they do. Being close to Putin is what got him sanctioned. Even I think it was Daily Mail that referred to his relationship with Putin as in the past. So, but Sky Sports and others don't put it that way because probably, we all think they are against us. So, says yes, for him could be. That's up to you. Now, the client, if you can come in so that I'll go to start very soon to let us know what he thinks. Do you think that if Chelsea fans protested the sanctions, that they would have made a difference?
Like I interrupted, said would have made it worse. But I do get what Nikki's saying, and if let's say tomorrow the war ended and Roman Abramovich was played a big part, and also it came out that he, it was proven that he was always helping the Ukrainians, then a protest should happen. A protest of wrongly being accused and Chelsea being linked to Russia and the war. It should be a massive protest after that. That's when the protest should happen, and a protest to
the
remove
protest should have
sanctions.
been for Chelsea and not for Roman.
Yeah. So at the time, if you protested what was happening, the media were going to just straight away link it that you're against. I mean, that you were for the war, that you were for Russia, and they were going to play victimhood, and that's all they're going to talk about, because they didn't talk about people that lost their jobs and the way they talk about Chelsea. And I think even Tuchel brought it up that Chelsea was even brought up in the House, in the Senate, in the Representatives. I forgot what you guys call it, but it was brought up in in political talk, where more important stuff should have been talked about. So the media used Roman and Chelsea as public enemy number one because it sold more papers and it sold, it got more clicks. And I think there was 160 Russians sanctioned in the UK, and no one knows anyone else except the Everton part owner. So I don't think a protest would have done anything, and it would have made it worse, to be honest.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah, go ahead. And let me say something before you come in, then I'll bring in stuff. I think a point I picked out from Bobby said something that was a time Chelsea was actually being linked to the war, not even Roman, because the media was sounding as if it was just Chelsea. It was Chelsea that actually started the war. And they're coming to declare impute there. I would argue that the best thing that the Chelsea fan would have done, or could have done, however you want to phrase it, is to let the government know, leave our club alone. If you want to sanction the man, sanction the man. Because the fact is, to me, I'd say we couldn't have done anything to stop the sanctions against the man. After all, the sanction hit before we knew it's in place already. Before we didn't even know they were going to sanction him. We thought it was coming. Nobody was sure whether it will happen or not. I learned from one of my close friends that they don't have something in place to facilitate the sanction, and boom, it happened. And it hit us as a surprise. So doing anything further could have made the situation even worse. Like, for instance, when we protested during when something is being done with regards with what's going on with regards to the Russia-Ukraine crisis, the timing was poor, and even the government had to say stop it. So, but again, go ahead, Showtime. You say what you want to say so I can bring Stav in.
See, this is where I totally disagree with the optics of the media would have spun it in a worse way. Whenever Chelsea been looked in a good way within the media, there's always something negative they have to say about Chelsea. So for us to be worried about the media's feelings is totally left field. How does that make any logical sense to worry about what the media has to say when we're fighting for something that's right to us? We're not protesting the war. It has nothing to do with war. Stop the sanctions. Leave Roman alone. What has Roman done to support the war? He was born in the Ukraine, so how can they use that and say his relationship to what billionaire do you know that doesn't have a close ties to their home government?
Okay, just to bring just to let you understand something. He was born in Ukraine, but he was once a governor in a Russian state.
Yeah, but he also has a Ukrainian mother, so he's playing both sides here. It's not a win-win situation. Nobody wins at this.
So you think for that reason that a protest would have made a difference?
I think in the beginning, when something is fresh and the media is using it as something as a news cycle, a 24-hour news cycle, of course it will be something that the fans got to go out there and protest, because then you change the narrative. They're going to interview fans, and fans is going to be like, this is not about war. This is about our club, and this is about our owner. What's he done to cause this war? He has no blood on his hands when it comes to Ukraine. That's not his doing. That's not his problem. And the fact that he's even trying to help, and the fact that he gave up his ownership to the trustees to let them make the decisions, and then they still drop sanctions on him, shows that we played as fans right into the government's hands. This is what they wanted a long time ago, and this is what they got, and we let it happen because we didn't choose to stand up for the club, nor did we choose to stand up for the best owner in the world for the past 20 years.
Yeah, Showtime, I have to be honest with you. I love you, bro, but I vehemently disagree with you. I don't think a protest would have made a difference. It would have made it worse. But then again, that's your opinion, and we're all allowed to voice our opinion here. It's democracy here. And I want to read this comment by Joe the Boy, who says, first time coming to your channel. I know some of your panel from GNA TV and Worldwide Chelsea. Big up all. Don't worry, we will be fine. Thank you for kindly saying that. That goes a long way. So coming to you,
My eyes
Stab.
hurting.
Yeah, go ahead. If you want to say something, then I can go to Stab to round up that aspect of the show. So we'll talk about something else.
Two things. Is my eye hurting me, or is there two Nick Blue?
One Nick Blue.
I'm seeing two.
It's Stav.
No, one is Stab, one is Nick Blue. I think I'm
Oh, no,
seeing
there is two
one
Nick Blues.
Nick Blue.
That's two Nick
So you see it, yeah, there's one. Oh, there's two Nick Blue. And now, Nick, can you say something? Let me know the one to remove.
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know what it's two.
So this one is the one to
Blue and
remove.
Blue.
Nick, I like the other one better.
Nick Blue.
Sorry, mate.
Maybe
Blue.
Okay, so you wanted to say something.
because I'm
you-
getting put. Yeah, it's
okay,
been
you wanted to
clear
say
defense
something.
has been doing something.
Hmm.
That's my mate, Nick Blue, the other one that you removed.
Okay, Ty, you wanted to say something.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you're going to bring up that the club should have protested long before this,
Mm-hmm.
I would say that it should be
Yeah, I
protests
want to.
for the
I want
innocent
to comment
people
on
that were being.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll come back to you after because Stab haven't spoken for a while. And go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, I'm saying if you want to say that the club should have protested a long time ago, protest for the innocent people that work in the club that were being affected. Protest for that. You can't be
too
protesting
late. You
for
need a
someone who there's no certainty
listen.
that
That
he is. I'm
happened.
not saying that he's involved, but there's no certainty that he isn't involved. So you
Mm-hmm.
can't be saying that protest for him. I'm not saying he's involved, but you cannot know because he has connections with him, whether or not it's an innocent one, whether it's just that he knows him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Would the mega
So you
store be
can't
closed?
say go and
Look,
protest. And
would the
plus, like
mega
you said, it just came out of the blue. He gave up the club, so people assume that they would say that he's given up the club as sanction is unnecessary. But at the end of the day, they still sanctioned him. So the club, the fans can just automatically say, let's go and have a protest because of that, because you can never know for sure. But protest for the people who are being affected, the people that when the mega store had to close, the people that were just doing their jobs, had no involvement, and they had to suffer as well. Protest for them. But I get what Showtime was trying to say. But I mean, I really don't think protesting would really help this case either way. Because if if they were willing to do it, I think they can go far. But I think someone mentioned about the Premier League, because if they accept this, they'll be contradicting to them saying no to racism, taking the knee. That would be contradictory. But I don't know. I just don't think that a protest at this very time can really do much. But I don't think they're gonna make it through because there'll be a roadblock for them.
Okay, yeah, okay. I want to quickly breeze. Great input there, by the way, Ty. I want to quickly breeze through the comment, and I'll bring in Star. here, I want to say welcome to the show to Almighty Blues FC. I get a very good friend of mine, and he has great channel. If you haven't, go check out his channel. You will like his content most definitely. I can promise you that. First, it says blame Labour, not government. They pushed for Abramovich to be sanctioned. Chris Bryan was the reason Roman got sanctions because he keep mentioning his name every day at the parliament. That's a possibility. Steve Chelsea, and again, Joe the boy says with Roman, it's more about being the wrong person in the wrong situation due to his business, due to the businesses he owns. I think that makes good sense. That's a good argument right there. Other than love for
Choose
my
your friends.
mom, there's no such thing as permanent loyalty in my mind. Okay, that's you. And Pierre says, and those fans who sang Roman's name during the matches after the sanctions have been heavily criticized by the media. True, that's true. There's only one Nick Blue. Yeah, but we had two on the panel. Big up, Coachila, and big up to you, Just Viola. Nice to see you here. They say lateness is greatness, so better late than never. So good to see you around. This is Steve Chelsea and Phantom. They're having a conversation between them two. So, Stav, come on in and let us know whether a protest would have made a difference when the sanction hit.
Right, first, right, to the people who are in the chat, I've said this more than once, and I feel I need to repeat it. Right, as long as the Ricketts passed the selection process, they had to be allowed through. No point people saying they shouldn't be in. They shouldn't be in.
Stav, you answering a question I have for you later. We'll talk about that. So don't talk about that one right now, please.
Well, you didn't tell me you can ask me that question, did you? Right.
You ruined it already, but go ahead.
Okay, right. Now, was it Fraser? He was spot on, right? About the guy Chris, what's his name? Right.
Brian.
Yeah. He was at it every single day. He wasn't the only one, right? And the whole sanction issue is internal politics, and nothing to do with his connections or perceived connections to Putin, right? It's got nothing to do whether he was involved in any way with the war. It's internal politics, right, within Parliament, right? I told you before, they didn't even have the legislation there to sanction him. Right?
That was the word I was looking for.
Right? So they didn't even have the legislation in, and they rushed it through. So what happened was, on the Wednesday, PMQs, right? I'm going to repeat this, I've said it before in other programmes, but people on here might not know it, okay? It was PMQs on the Wednesday night, and Zelensky did a video talk to the whole of Parliament, right? The English Parliament, British Parliament. And as soon as that finished, certain people will have gone home or gone to the certain offices, sat down together, started talking, and realised that they had to sanction Roman just to shut other people up, right, and to clear the air, so to speak, for themselves. The people who sat down and wrote the licence out have no knowledge of sport whatsoever, right? They have no knowledge whatsoever. That licence was a nonsense. So that's that, right? That's why Roman's been sanctioned, closely followed by the EU, right? It was a race as to who was going to sanction him first, right? And you know that with internal politics, with Brexit, right, they're at loggerheads with the EU. So there's external politics going on between the UK and the EU as well, right? So that's why it all happened, right? So I'll move on. With regards to whether protests would have worked or not, no, because if we sang his name and we got criticised for it, then protests weren't going to work either, right? The media wanted us to protest to give them more stories, right? The time will come with protests. They have to be within the stadium, right? They have to be within the stadium for the protests. So it's up to the season ticket holders who are allowed to go into the stadium now to start the protests. But outside the ground, no, because it's just seen as disorder. Because the Super League one worked, but then the media didn't want the Super League either. Okay? I'm going to respond to some of the stuff Declared said as well. Right? You don't want to support the Ricketts, go and buy your shirt from somewhere else. Go and get it direct from Nike. Go and get it from Sports Direct if you live in the UK. There are umpteen sports shops, right? Go to Kitbag online and
Still
buy
get
your
a cut,
shirt.
Stav.
Yeah.
I can get a fake one. You got a point. I can go get a fake replica.
Yeah, I can get fake ones here in Cyprus at a waste of space. Right?
Are you in Cyprus right now?
Yeah, I live here, don't I?
I didn't know.
Go ahead, Stav. Go ahead, please. And you haven't told me
You don't have
whether
to
a protest would have made a difference.
I did. I said I don't think it would have at the time.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead with your input.
Right? You don't have to support the Ricketts, right? Yeah, the people who go to the ground will indirectly be supporting them by buying the match tickets. They don't have to go to the club shop either. Don't use any official merchandise points. With regards to other things, right, Mr. Ricketts is going to find out that when you come to England in an English sports club, right, it's the EPL that control most things, right? And he can do whatever he wants to try and make extra money, do his little videos and DVDs and stuff like that, right? But the footage and everything that would be used, you need permission from the EPL to use it, right? If you don't want to buy the DVD, etc., of him, go online and buy it as well, right? And just don't give him money that way. There's lots of ways you can get what you want for yourself to show your support or whatever, right? Just go online and get it, right? Use Amazon.com. I don't like Amazon much myself, right? But there's other ones as well, okay? You don't have to put money into his pocket. I'm talking to people who live around the globe, right? If you want a shirt, buy it from different sources. Don't get it off the online merchandise shop, right? If you live in London, go and get it from somewhere else.
Stav, I think you missed the point though. It's going to be overall, and how do you get the Ricketts out? They're still going. People are still going to put money in their pockets. I know you can say, "Hey, buy your shirt out of there," but you know, every time you watch the game,
but listen,
you can't get them out.
Right? Yeah, but the thing is, he's not going to stay long, is he? If he ain't making money out of it.
But
right?
Bro, if you look at the Chicago clubs, he's conditioned to stay in. He has so much criticism. He has so much protest. Everyone wants him out. Wanted him out for years, and he hasn't left. He's a leech. Like he gets once he gets his claws in, he's not leaving, and it's hard to get him out.
All
right, I think we're gonna go. Go ahead, Declan. You were saying something.
Yeah, but I I hope he doesn't. You can't say 100% because I questioned the process. I mean, you said, yeah, this is. I mean, I think Bobby also said it. Yeah, this is how it's done, and we should just trust it. I don't trust the process. That's what I'm worried about.
We'll come to that, and I'll start with the next question. I think I get your argument. If you don't trust the process, I don't blame you. Joe the boy says, I think the Ricketts won't pass the check-in up because it's gonna have to look at the data of how they run the clubs, and I believe that will shine a light about how bad of a spot owner they are. I think that's a great comment there. I still hope they won't get through, but he raised this question why they're still in the process, and I have a question regarding that because there are points that the client touched that I wasn't even aware of, that they are in debt, $1 billion in debt, and they even their own media is asking against them, and also their employees are asking, okay, you can't even pay us, and now you're going to go buy another club. So that's something we should actually look at. It's just beyond this Islamophobia. It's beyond racism. There are other stuff. This whole stuff coming together. I mean, it's a huge red flag. Why we shouldn't even welcome those guys to our club, let alone leave or stay. That argument should come last, but it's a good
Hey,
thing we're
look,
being
look,
proactive. We don't
That's
want
what
to
I'm
be
saying, Coach.
reactive.
the former
Yeah.
president, the former president of the United States was in debt, and look, he became the president of the United States. The debt doesn't
What
matter.
that's gonna have to do with it?
No,
Yeah,
that
but
doesn't
I
matter.
understand. But go ahead,
Listen,
Declan. You were saying something.
but these are financial and poor choices and poor reps. So how? What is the process that the Raine Group went through to say, oh well, these guys know how to run a club well, right? And we should put them in the shortlist.
Okay, we'll come to that. I don't want to give it. I
Yeah.
want to. I
Wasn't
don't
it
want to
based
give
on
that away.
finances? It was
We're
based on
coming to that
finances.
topic. We're coming to that topic in a bit. Let me just breeze through the comment. Glenn says we really lost the wrong Bryant. Okay, okay. And this is just and then could I ask? That's a funny question. Anybody want to answer that? That's up to you. Glenn here also. Let me see if there's anything else. Smash that like button. Yes, from Steve Chelsea. Steve Chelsea, I feel yeah, but I am not supporting them. Just can't, man. Yeah, that's it. Okay, now I'm gonna come to you. So I'm gonna start with you. Let me start with Tyron. Are you there?
Yes, yes.
Let me ask you this question. I know Stav has a good answer already for that, and I want to bring him in later. We know about these issues about their current club being in debt, their current employees complaining, and the media saying that if they can't even pay their workers, why are they trying to buy Chelsea, and every other issues they've had. So now the question is, how did they even get to make it into the second phase or the final phase, if you like?
um, that is a tough question, but I think it has to do with one of three things. Um, obviously there had to be some sort of meeting, with the prospective. Well, at the time, the amount of bidders at that time, they had to make a case that to make their points and put their reasons across as to why they're interested in buying the club. So I think it has to do with probably they put up a strong case. Maybe it's down to possibly probably they were able to live up to the price tag that was placed on obtaining the club, and it allowed them to progress further. Obviously, what has happened, and with the ones that have been eliminated, the reasons that were given was that they weren't able to live up to what was required. They weren't able to, if they had made it further, they wouldn't have been able to withstand the issues that would probably pop up at the club. So I think possibly it has to do with them, probably put up a strong case for why they want to obtain a club. But if they have this, and I'm sure a lot of people know this, that they had to raise the pricing of tickets and everything, for people to watch, the game for the Cubs. It isn't really good. But I mean, the second stage will prove to see what happens, and there'll be background checks to see. So possibly things could not go further. But I think they probably made a strong case, and they were probably persuasive enough in order to convince that they should be on that shortlist and to make it up.
That makes sense to me. And I wanted to, yeah, Mikhail says he's a bit confused what's going on in the panel and in the chat. Yeah, we had to deviate a bit because it's something that Showtime brought up. We had to address it, and that was why we talked about whether a protest would have made a difference when the sanction hit. But I think you have to rewatch it to understand what responses we got from Bobby, who was here before, and other people who was that were part of the panel. So thank you again for that input, Ty. Showtime. Before I go to Declan and Nick Blue, I want to come to you, Showtime. How do you think? How is it possible that they made it to this phase, the current phase of the selection process?
Yeah, I would like to switch with Nick Blue. I'll go after Nick Blue or after Declare,
Sorry.
if that's okay. I'll say I'd like to refrain from speaking to after Nick Blue or after Declare is finished, if that's okay.
Yeah, okay, so you go ahead now.
So Nick Blue can go before me.
Okay, Nick, you can come in. He says he wants you to come in for. So, Nick, why do
Yeah,
you think the Ricketts are that they are
Ricketts.
able to make it to the final phase?
Yeah, that's a very good question, which I don't understand really how they made it because of all the everything we know about them and what the Raine Group must know about them. So it must be to come down to money because they had the money. They have the money probably. That's the only reason I can think of. It's because everything else is against them. But the Raine Group probably, like Sav said before, a lot of times, is the money side. They have the funds to be in there. Yeah, that's what I think. That's what it is. Um, yeah, no, there can't be anything else apart from money. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I can't say much about that really.
Okay, how about you? You want to come in now, or you want Declare to come first? Because I always like staff to come last whenever he's on the panel.
Okay, I mean, I'll go. Or if the Glenn
Okay,
wants
go
to go,
ahead.
you know, I mean, it doesn't matter. But for me, I mean,
Can I quickly look at the comments, please, if you don't mind?
yeah, you can, you can.
Okay, yeah. When are fans going to protest at Stamford Bridge? I would have already been there if I were in London. You may have to reach out to Nick Blue. Probably he can help get you a ticket if you really want to be there, just Viola. He can find people that will get you a ticket so you be there to represent your own region.
Yeah, I wish he was here instead of all these other fans we have
Mhm.
because they let me
Find some
down.
of, yeah.
Yeah.
Says Mikhail, roughly 30% of the Chelsea fan base will leave and find a new team if Ricketts win at the bid. You think? I think so, because that's not the best option.
30%.
You stay and fight for the club you love. And Joe the boy said, I think the 1 billion obligation will scare the Ricketts away. I don't think so, because Ken Griffin, who is part of their consortium, is loaded with cash. I don't think that will scare them away. They might do it, but again, I'm still hopeful. Maybe they would. I'm still hopeful for, because we have representatives at the table in the selection process. I don't think they will make it through. But we're just being objective. We're just being proactive in case if it happens. What can we do to stop it? Mikhail says, I never knew there were two Knicks. There were two. There were two Knicks on the panel, but we had to take off one. And Tyrone pointed that out. Just yell, get you some coffee. Yeah, she needs that. The Ricketts had a joint accusation. Hmm. The Ricketts had a joint accusation before with the Raine Group. Is it acquisition? I think that's acquisition. I think he meant acquisition before with the Raine Group. They just have connection in Raine, and there's a possibility. And I think we read something about it, which also that comment we read the other day about the business link between the two companies. There's nothing wrong in that. But given that Chelsea is being sold and they're part of it, I think they should be highlighted. There is conflict of interest there, if you ask me. Ethically, I think that shouldn't be happening. Hey, Phantom, you're probably right, but so be it. Well, we will protest against Ricketts in that scenario and sing Roman's name on match days. Thank you very much. And here, Phantom says, Michael, I would just support Forham. That's you, and congratulations. If you've made the decisions already, enjoy Forham. The first priority is for the club to survive this mess. Yes. Thank you. Great point. And Ken Griffin is filthy rich. He is rich. That's why I don't think finances will be the issues for the Ricketts. The money is there. And if I were in London, I will always join the protest too. And Joe the Boy says, is it the 11th of April we will hear the new owner? Okay, now coming, go ahead, Showtime.
Yeah, for me, money talks. I mean, the custodian has probably money, and they probably met the threshold and requirements for the bid. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that being said, look, the Ricketts are in the finals, the shortlist. They are probably up there, but my question would be, what criteria did the Saudis not meet for them not to be able to make the short list? Because they got money as well, so I guess it was a political thing with the Saudis. So for me, the Ricketts are in, another American. I mean, look, at the end of the day, they may or may not win, and we as fans just gonna have to deal with it. They met the criteria. We can forget about all this racism stuff and all this whatever they got going on with their reviews and stuff like that, because billionaires, they make money and people suffer. The regular common folks suffer, and some people just have to suffer on the back of their hand. They're going to continue to make money, and they have the money and they have the right people around them to make the bid to the Raine Group. The Raine Group just accepted the bid, and now they're moving forward. Now it's just for us to wait and see, out of those three or out of those four, who's going to be our new owner. So be it.
Okay, that's you. Stav, I'm going to come to you, Stav. I want you to answer this question, and then you can come in. But before you do that, let me read this. Some comments in the chat. Phantom, you're fulfilling all sorts of stereotypes lately. Phantom, you hear that? That's you. I don't know what you said. That made Mikhail say that. And Joe, the boy, says the Ricketts spent 160 million for wages last season. I don't think they would spend money. That's hilarious, but it makes sense too. Good afternoon, and Chelsea Perspective, and everyone in the panel. Those in the comments, nice to see you here again, DJ Sav. One of our strongest sources, always provides us with information. Okay, Ty, no problem. I appreciate you finding time to join DJ Sav. And then that is by coincidence. Okay, I only have 100% loyalty to my mom. Good to hear. She must be very proud of you. And then club had to spend money if they pass the process, which I think they will not. Okay, we all believe they will not. Ricketts are not racist. They are Islamophobe. Okay. Joe Ricketts has said that many times he hates Islam. I think why I don't know why people prefer racist.
They're racist.
They are. No, I'm coming. People prefer that. There's a pastor. We played the video here that talked about the racist issues encounters they've had with him. I think if you research that, yeah. Go ahead. You wanted to say something. And DC, welcome to the channel. If you haven't, please subscribe. In a bit, I will show you guys something. Now, Stav, coming back to you, please answer this question from Joy the Boy. Joy the Boy, and then you can comment with the previous question too.
Yeah, the 11th of April is, I've just seen it on the screen, is the date for the bids to go in for the second stage. They've been narrowed down. They've all been told what's expected of them.
Okay, sorry. How many stages now are there?
Look, they have to pass certain criteria to reach this stage, right, and get shortlisted. Now,
so there's another stage. Is there another stage after this particular stage?
Because the club wants proof that they've got $1 billion, right, to invest in the club. Okay, so they have to prove that now. Originally, it was just that the bids, the stadium, and the academy and stuff like that. But now they're expected to pay another $1 billion. Right? Look, what's going to happen is the price isn't going to reach the $3 billion. It's probably going to be 1.5 to 2. Okay. So then you've got more for the stadium, and then you've got more for the investment into the team and stuff like that. They've got to show this money to get the last position, right, of owner, right? So they've got to show they've got this money. So obviously, I think what's happened, and I'm just surmising here, I'm no expert, that the club know about the Ricketts, okay, right, and they know that they've cut salaries and stuff like that, and this is why they want them to show everyone to show that they've got the extra $1 billion to invest in the upkeep of the club and the future of the club, right? So I reckon in total it'll be between 3 to 3.5, including everything, right? At the end of the day, let's remember, Roman's not getting anything out of this, so it's not that big a deal to him because he's not getting anything. The big deal to him is saving the club and giving the club a better a decent future, because there's nothing in it for him. Like the thing in it for him is his love of the club, and he's trying to leave the club in as best a position as possible. Right, and you have to show all these things by the 11th of April, which is 2 weeks tomorrow. Right.
Okay.
So that's that. What was the other part that you wanted to know about?
Yes. How is it possible? How is it possible that the Ricketts made it to the current stage?
Because they passed all the criteria of the process. I've said this before. I'll say it again.
No, sorry, 1 second. I know. I just want you to repeat it so that those of us that haven't learned about that.
Yeah,
just 1 second, Stav. And Glenn, nobody has called me Couch today. Even Nick Blue has learned to call me Coachila and Coach. So Nick Blue, thank you. Go ahead, Stav.
Yeah. Yes, Coach.
Okay, just go ahead, Stav. You win. Go ahead.
Right. When you set off a process, you cannot eliminate someone, right? As long as they reach all the requirements of that process. As I mentioned it before, Richard Branson bought 70 properties off the NHS. So the NHS refused to let him bid for their properties, and he sued them, and he got millions out of the Surrey NHS, right? Because they didn't allow him to bid. Okay, so if they've reached the criteria that's necessary, they have to accept them, right? Because he can then come back later and contest things in court and hold up the whole issue, and then we are screwed, okay? Because we cannot go beyond May the 31st. Yeah, well, we can up to June sort of time, but that starts affecting our ability to sign and sell players, right? Once somebody has been selected as a potential new owner, right, they have to be presented to the government. The government have to say yes, and then it goes to the EPL. It's not the FA, it's the EPL, okay? The EPL is separate from the FA, right? So that's the process, and then they do their suitability checks. So they've all been told that the process has to be completed by the end of April. Whether it is or not is debatable. Could be beginning of May, right? Depends on how long the government hold it up. The record for suitability checks is 10 days. So anyway, that's that. That's why they have to let them bid and then let them come through the process, because they reach the process. With regards to the Saudi media group, right, they were not going to invest any money themselves. They were going to.
Okay, now you're answering Declad's question. And before you continue, I want to show people in the chat. As you can see, we're at 990 subscribers. We've made some great progress in the past few days. I think we're averaging 25 subscribers per day. I think Josviala, let me know if that mathematics is wrong, but I think it's around that number, 20 to 25 subscribers per day. And we're at 990. So I'm hoping we get to 1,000 today. And if we do by tomorrow, we'll do a huge giveaway. I'm not going to say what it is, but I will discuss with some of, we have our own board members here. I'll talk with Just Viola and others that are part of the board members to come up with the huge giveaway will be if we hit 1,000 today. So I want to thank everybody in the chat and everybody on the panel. You've all been part of the success, and that makes me very happy. So go ahead, Stav. And with that, please, if you know anybody that will join the channel, tell them about Chelsea Perspective. Tell them about the Blue Morning Show. It's a daily show, and you have a lot to learn here, because what we try to do is educate the fan, and we try as much as we can to be, as objective as possible. No clickbait, anything. We just try to be as real as possible. So go ahead, Stav.
Yeah. So the Saudi media group didn't reach all the criteria. They weren't going to be spending any of their own money, right? And they do receive subsidies from the government, and one of the uncles of the guy who was trying to buy it is related to the royal family, right? So they didn't reach the criteria, as much as we'd all like them to have got it. Same thing with Nick Candy and his South Koreans, right? They didn't fulfill all the criteria that was necessary to come through the first process. So that's why the Ricketts are in and other ones are not. Okay, it was dependent on how they were going to fund things, and obviously they don't want people who are not going to use some of their own money. Nobody's going to use all their own money, right? But the guy from Saudi Media Group wasn't going to use any of his own money, right? He's going to borrow it all. So, and then there's the connections to the government. So that's why all that happened. I can't really say anything else now because I've explained how the shortlist went, and the Ricketts had to be allowed to continue because they met the criteria, and we don't want them coming back later on and kicking up a stink and trying to contest the process. So the process is what it was, and that's why they've come through it. Okay. With regards to the Raine Group, we chose them. They didn't choose us, right? They're going to get 30 million for it, for their work. And at the end of the day, you can have more than one company within the same bank, right? It's irrelevant, okay? It doesn't mean that there's corruption going on. Doesn't mean that there's backhanders going on. They're making 30 million. Why would they want to ruin the process, right? And then let Chelsea get out of it by finding out there's something dodgy going on, and then they don't get their 30 million. Okay, so let's just leave it at that for now. Let's wait and see. Come the 11th of April, it'll all be clearer. There may be more information before then. The next stage is they can travel to London. They can meet Thomas Tuchel. Right now they've all had a password, so they can check their players' wages, the salaries of everybody in the club, etc., etc. And I'm quite sure that Chelsea will expect them to be paid and no cuts, hence the extra billion.
I hope the salary will be enough to scare the Ricketts away, since they're used to cutting players salaries and they know they can't do that.
Yeah, but they've already accepted the extra billion.
Wow. So really, finances and the issues, like we said, because we've talked about how rich Ken Griffin
but they're
is.
involved in a bank as well. They're involved in a different bank, right?
Yeah,
So what they're trying to do is sneak through the process, and hopefully they get a 1 in 2 or 1 in 3 shot. But I would be very surprised if they get selected, because they would possibly fail the suitability check,
the vetting process.
Yeah, and Chelsea would know that, right?
Okay.
My money's still on the other American guy, right?
Yeah, thank you very much for that great input. You're talking about
Can I just make one more comment? Make one more comment? Good news, we've got a 1 in 3 chance, right? If Rudiger gets sold, or if Pulisic gets sold, or if the Ricketts get it, saying bye-bye to Phantom of Many Topics. Enjoy your time at Fulham. Bye-bye.
Okay, Phantom, I hope you're listening. Staff says, but I don't think it will happen, though. We're just being objective here and being proactive. You never know. Since they made it to this phase, there's a chance to win it technically. Now, I don't want to, for instance, I don't want to see my friend Fahim stop supporting Chelsea. I hope he changes his mind. We'll find a way to get rid of the snake instead of leaving the house for the snake to become the new owner of the house, if you guys understand my analogy. Declan will be, for everybody in the chat, I'll be picking one comment or one question for each person on the panel to answer or talk about. Declan, this one is for you, and it's from Joe the Boy. He says, Chelsea trustee wouldn't go based off of the higher of the offer, but the overall best interest of the future of the club. But I don't trust a buck. You come in there, Declan. That one is for you.
I agree with Joe the Boy. I mean, even Stav said they passed the criteria, but I've been questioning what the criteria is. We do have all American shortlist as well. The Ricketts did cry poor. They've had bad finances in the way they've done it, so we don't know what the criteria was.
But here's the
I
thing,
think
Declan. I didn't mean to cut you off. They're coming as a consortium, and they have and they have Ken
everyone's loaning
Griffin.
money. Yeah, but that's what comes into question. I thought the process was to find the best owner, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't seem like that. It seems like who can come up with the quickest and fastest money, or the highest bid, or something like that, which it
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be the case because Roman's not getting none of it. You know what I mean? End of the day, and even Stav was breaking it down. And I agree with what Stav said, that the money's going to be broken up to invest in the stadium and this and that and whatever criteria they want. Well, then why isn't it looked upon the best interest of the club? Why is because I mean people like I think he's coming in with Ken Griffin, I think it was, which is another guy that he's purely just about money, and they're ready to, and a lot of these parties look like they're ready to just milk the club, and I hate it, and the process has no fan influence, right, and it's purely about money, and maybe that makes sense because Raine Group is just a bank, but the fact that they do have close ties maybe helped the Ricketts Group just
Mm-hmm.
make to edge it over some of the other parties. We as Chelsea fans didn't get to hear every single bidder and know their background and maybe see and maybe we can compare this cloak and dagger type process, and we that we don't even know the other bidders. There's a mystery bidder. We can't even compare to make an idea of the process. You know what I mean? Like Stab brought up points connections to the government. Well, then, the Ricketts have really close ties to the Republicans. They donate a
Mm-hmm.
lot. They get political influence. That's probably worse than getting subsidies from the government. But maybe all the billionaires do. So
Let's try.
what are we?
Let's try
What is
not
the?
to
What
talk.
is the?
Let's try not to talk about their political affiliations because it's irrelevant.
Yeah. So I was
Uh,
getting to the point that we're trying to guess. We're constantly, as fans, we're trying to guess what the process and criteria is because we're not
mm-hmm.
sure. Because for a long time, I didn't even know who was making the shortlist. Was it the Raine Group or was it Chelsea board? And who gets the final say? Or is it together? These questions have not been answered. We can guess that Bruce Buck, maybe the board get to do it at the end, and the Raine Group were trying to just make the shortlist. But why
Mm-hmm.
didn't the board get to choose from all the bidders, and why let the Raine Group do the shortlist when they know nothing? No, they don't know nothing about sports. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So the Raine Group didn't consider any of the fans or the welfare of the sporting companies because they actually just a bank and don't know anything about that.
Mm-hmm.
So why are they deciding a shortlist in the first place? Shouldn't they just make sure everyone's got the finances and maybe put everyone in a certain category and prove everyone's got the money, and then leave it over to Chelsea. So surely it didn't just come down to 4 people that can come up with the money. I mean, whether they got ties with the government or all that, that should have been left to the Premier League and the board, not the Raine Group, because the Raine Group aren't specialised in all that. They aren't specialised in the ties of the government. They only specialise whether you have the money to invest or not, and they make sure where the money goes. That's it. Just money. And maybe that's how the Ricketts got in. But they shouldn't be making a short list and excluding other people for different reasons outside money. And maybe
right.
maybe it could be possible that these people couldn't come up with the money. And maybe it was going to take too long, or maybe it was going to go for too many channels. I can see that. But I don't believe that it was only 4 people, because there's a lot more people out there. And we still have a
No, we
mystery
know.
bidder
I
that
think
there's no name.
there were quite a lot of them, but at the first stage, at the first phase, it's easy to whittle it down to some, real
Just to make one last
down
point,
to 10 or so,
Coach,
because there were a lot of
Couch.
beats actually. There were no shortage of bias. Go ahead.
Yeah. Just to conclude it all, I hate the fact that the fans are in the dark about the whole process. And I thought we should be more included and have a bit more of a say. Maybe we can champion behind some people.
Mhm.
The mystery bidders, we don't know the process. We don't know who's doing this. There's no transparency or anything. yeah, that's why I don't like it, and that's why I still give Ricketts a chance to win because of being left in the dark. We can guess, we can have good guesses. I can get that, and they shouldn't be in. It almost looks impossible that the Ricketts can take over after everyone's protesting against them, after all how they run the clubs, but they're still there. And also to add, what Stav was saying before, I heard the process. The next process, the next stage is that all the people on the shortlist, we're going to give them like a password, and they can look into all the Chelsea finances. So now they get to see all the wages and how much everything's going to cost. So I mean, then they can probably make a decision on the bid. So that's what I was. I read about as well.
Are you concerned about that?
I don't know. This is I guess once you make it past this stage, the next stage, it is sensitive information. I guess they're all going to know. I hope they keep it to themselves because any of them can leak it. But yeah,
that's why I wouldn't be concerned about that. I think most of the things that we see are things that are already in the public domain anyway. They might not be accurate, but they're pretty close. Like the
it could change their mind.
Like the wages.
It could change their mind a little bit, yeah.
You know, I'm just saying. Okay, you're saying, are you concerned at the fact they have password and access to some information?
No. I heard that's the next process, and with that process, they could look at Chelsea and say maybe Chelsea's been losing money for the last 10 years, for example. I don't know. Yeah?
So they can't. Okay, to decide whether it's something they want to do or not.
Yeah, I think they get another chance to bid, and maybe their bid might be lower because of that. Or, you know, now they get to judge how much or what the state of the club is. Better say.
Okay. Now I think it makes sense now because some people are seeing it from worrying. Some people are worried. Oh, why are you gonna give them? Because they hear the word password, and you know they hear the word password and code and something like that. They become concerned. I mean, things they will see, like I've mentioned before, are things that are already in the public domain anyway. Like player salaries, like I said, it might not be correct, but they pretty close what we have out there. And also, I believe in America here, you can actually easily find out how much somebody earns per year. There are some websites that will show you that. I'm not sure if it is the same in the UK. For those that are worried, I know you've explained that's not why you're worried. For those that are worried, that why give them personal information? No, they're not going to see anything very personal like identity defining information of players, of workers, but they can see their salaries and stuff. No way you'd share identity defining information with them. I don't think that will happen for those that are concerned. I'm going to go through the comments also. Then I'll when I get to a comment I'd like staff or anybody on the panel to address, I'll let them know. DJ Saab says, just Viola, all good, was happy for Havertz and Werner both scoring yesterday. Yes, it's good news. Hopefully Werner will be able to, you know, should I say, translate his national team performance to Chelsea Football Club. That will be good for us. Pierre says stadium plans to redevelop are key with regards to the Chelsea beats, and the Ricketts really believe they have the edge on that as they have consulted with key figure in the previous aborted plans. Wow, that is deep, and that makes it even more concerned. Now you see why they've made it to this phase. Stav, what do you have to say about this coming from Pierre on the screen?
Well, I've already said that. They've passed the process, and that's part of the process. That's why you can't.
Yeah, exactly. Them. So are you concerned that if they keep meeting the criteria, that we eventually there's a chance they will emerge as the new owners?
No, they'll get blown out of the water by Bowley. They're not going to pass any. They're not going to pass any suitability checks, right? Because
that's for sure.
It's going to be it's going to be with a fine tooth comb because you've already got clubs in there, right? Who want to find issues without any potential owner, right? And
so you mean suitability from the EPL or the Chelsea board?
The EPL, right?
Saudi's got in, so it's not that hard.
Sorry? Yeah, but
the Saudis got in, so it's not that hard.
Took them over a year.
Yeah, but that was with piracy issue.
Yeah, and the difference is, right, well, Boris didn't get involved, right? And the difference is, right, the Saudis spend 3 or 4 billion every couple of years on UK weapons. So there's an investment there, right?
And
they
a
get oil
connection to the
from them.
government.
Sorry?
And a connection
Okay,
to
let's get
the government.
They are the
Sam.
government.
Have you answered the
They are
question?
the
I want to
government.
switch. Okay, I want to switch to the next comment as quickly as possible. But let me read these. Jos Viola said, "Come on, let's get another 10 subs. Yes, and get to 1,000 subs. We're close there." And DJ Saab said, "People smash the like button and subscribe." Thank you very much for saying that, DJ Saab. So, Saab, go ahead, and then we can read this one also. Let me just read it right now before you continue from Bikai. It says, "Interesting spin by Stav on the Ricketts being allowed to get past initial beats phase to avoid them taking legal actions afterwards and being awarded millions in damages potentially, because that makes sense. It could happen, and staff has always talked about that. And also, one thing I want to say is this: if you've been part of the hiring process for an organization, or maybe if you own a company, if you've hired people, like in the United States, you have no right to reject an individual because of their record, because they have a criminal record, or because of their history. You'd accept their application, you'd interview them just like you've done to any other person, and then for some, you find a way to let them know, this is why we don't think you're a fit for us, but you're never going to say you're not a fit for us because you have a racist history or because you have a criminal background. They will sue the heck out of you and get a lot of money from you. So I think that applies to the process a bit, if you ask me. So, Stab, you go ahead.
Yeah, so as I was saying, the Saudis are a totally different kettle of fish. And they are the government. The owners of Newcastle United, they are basically the government.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it took them what, 2 years, I think. They had to go to court and wait for the court case, right? So we can't afford that. We can't afford any court cases holding things up. And that was because they were pirating beIN Sports pictures of the live games from the UK. They were basically giving them for free. And they complained. And they went to court to contest it with each other. So they couldn't be, that's why they weren't accepted the first time around. And in the meantime, they've come to an agreement, they've stopped doing it. And they've basically been kissing backsides, left, right, and centre to get back in. And the thing is, there were still people who were contesting the takeover of Newcastle, but for reasons I just gave, right, the British government just said, "Oh well, we can't get involved in it. It's nothing to do with us." For those reasons, 3, 4, 5 billion worth of weapons, plus you're getting oil from them and all that kind of stuff. But I can just add one more thing, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
It doesn't matter whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, right?
Thank you for saying that. Go ahead.
Neither of them, right? Yeah, have any great liking for Boris Johnson. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you're a Republican or Democrat. So if Ricketts is attached to the Republicans, that's not going to hold any store, and that relates to Northern Ireland. Okay?
Yeah, and that was why I say we shouldn't be referencing people's political affiliation. It's irrelevant to what we're saying here, and I think I declared understood that, and yeah. So
that's not what I was actually the point I was making, though.
But people can easily interpret it, so you know that. Brother.
Yeah, so I can clear it up. It's not that they're affiliated; they're a big contributor, but for a reason, right? Because they have massive political influence. They want that party in, and they get a lot of favors from that part when they're in power, and that's what's been happening. So that's how they go about business. And
okay,
so
now I see it. Yeah.
And then I compare it to the process that's happening, and they got friends in Raine Group that's come up to. So this is how they go about business. So once they get in the UK, they're going to buy influence to get away with more stuff than they do. So instead of paying their workers, instead of investing in the club and doing all the right things. They buy influence to get away with a lot of other stuff, which is bad. So that's the connection I was making. I don't care. The both sides of the political party are the same, right? He could do that with the other side as well, but it's just how he goes about business. That's what the point I was bringing up.
I get your point. So this says, may I ask, how do you know they've accepted the extra 1 billion source? We don't know. The truth is, it's all speculations. Well, none of us.
It's speculation in the media, and it's been confirmed by the Telegraph.
None of us. Yeah, none of us have been at the table with those responsible for the selection process. Nick Blue, you want to say anything to this on the screen?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, what's J-Boy?
He said, Joe the Boy says, may I ask, how do you know they've accepted the extra 1 billion? He's asking for the source. So I just said, I tried to explain to him that we can only speculate because we're not part of the process.
Of course, we don't know. Yeah, we don't know for sure. I don't know. I can't say much about that. It's all speculation, and like everything is at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for saying that. I think I'll find something I would like you to address. Here, DJ Sav said, "Phantom of many topics. So you're going to turn your back and not supporting Chelsea? How can you call yourself a real fan, bro? Remember the team, not the owners." Bobby Fairview says, "Bless up Coachila." Big up to the chat and panel. Thank you very much for saying that. And Phantom also, whenever DJ, when have I ever claimed to be a real fan? I am a casual fan. Okay, that's okay by me. Understood. Big up Coachila and the panel. You see the latest news of Chomeni. I haven't updated us. That will be fine. And it says, what the chances we miss out on Chomeni? The chances is huge because the guy himself will be hearing everything that's going on. And it doesn't look like we're serious about him. Maybe it's all talk, no action for me, if you ask me. So if any other club goes in for him and they pay enough money, I think Monaco will let him go. He says, DJ Sav is not a fan, bro. Don't waste your time with him. This is just them. Okay, let's see. Let's get it right. If we missed out on Chomeni, we're going to get rice. I'd rather get beans because rice is really, really expensive, if you ask me. So I don't think we'll do that. I think we have youngsters coming in who can equally do the job. If you bring, though, you can say they play in different positions. If you bring Rice and Gallagher, anytime I'll take kind of Gallagher for obvious reasons. Again, that's me. Mikhail says we're going to miss on Rafinha too. Quite a lot of them. We could miss a lot of them. Saudis were discriminated against. That's your view. Raine Group eliminated the bidders who did not have the balance sheet to complete the transaction. That's the role of an investment bank. 3 billion is not a pocket change. That makes sense. Here, Titus says, DJ Sav, don't try with Phantom. He's confessed earlier to being a glory hunter. Okay, Saudis reject Boris. Are you the man? Then things you know they didn't make the CFC shortlist. Okay. Greetings, Just we all okay. There's pleasantries between those in the chat. So why the balance sheet must show 3 billion? Not necessary to use own money in purchase. They will leverage club to borrow against it nonetheless. Declared, you come in for that one.
We actually don't know. Can you hear me still?
Yeah,
Sorry.
we can hear you.
I thought I disconnected. Yeah, we actually don't know. That you have to show 3 billion on the balance sheet, or if it's 1 billion with an investment to the stadium, another 1 billion, or if it's broken down, or how quick you have to throw, how much up front, and where it comes from. Because I don't believe anyone's going to throw 3 billion. I think everyone's getting a loan. Everyone's breaking it up. Everyone's got consortiums in order to get the loan. So it's very confusing. Do you know even when the people that got rejected didn't get a reason why? So it would have been good if the Raine Group said, this person didn't pass so and so criteria.
They
couldn't show
probably told them, but they don't have to tell us.
Well, no, the Saudis and Nick Candy came out and said they gave him no reason. So there is no official.
I honestly don't believe that, Declared.
Maybe, okay. We can take two sides.
At this level, let me just say something. I'm not fighting you. I'm just saying you just said what the Nick Candy and Saudi group say. For instance, the Saudi group will not come out and say they rejected us because they say we were not able to tell them the source of the money that we're going to use for the whole development process and everything. And Nick Candy won't come out and tell us as much. So, and again, if you reject somebody without explaining why, explicitly explaining why you reject them, you're leaving room for lawsuits. I can assure you that, but go ahead, brother. So that's why I don't believe them.
So they came out and said that, whether it's true or not, we can question. But at the same time, I got to ask, Raine Group haven't been transparent themselves. So I believe that I believe they have it in them to just reject any bidders without saying anything. It's not their job to. They can do that. They haven't been transparent with anything. Where at least Nick Candy's been open, whether it's lied or not, right? Saudis were open. They said we don't know why, and they showed eagerness to try get involved in different ways, right? They put this out. So I believe there is a good chance that the Raine Group didn't explain what happened, right? And also, they didn't explain who the other bidders were and who got rejected. No, we don't know the criteria that people got rejected on. We don't know nothing. So I can take that into account. Why that it probably happened. I mean, we can only guess because it's like I said, it is all cloak and data, and with the $3 billion on the table, we don't know, and I don't think anyone's giving out that money. Everyone's taking a loan. Everyone has joined up with different parties and different investment groups, even Goldman Sachs advisors, and just to get the club. And that's what worries me because everyone's doing everything they can just to get the club, and after they do, they're going to want to see a return on investment. Because I don't see how someone spends $3 billion and then keeps spending on the team and the stadium, and then it becomes from $3 billion. What does it become? 5 over a length of time. I mean, when does that party see a return on investment? I mean, if they're not looking, but if they're not looking for a return on investment, then it's great. Then we got another Roman. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like they're going to put the loans on the club name, and we're going to have to start paying interest. So it might be great for the first couple of years, and then before they tell us there's no more money, and we have to pay for stadium, and then we start to sound like Arsenal.
Yeah, great input right there. Nick Blue, let me ask you, do you think it's possible to reject any of the groups without telling them why?
God. If it's possible, I think they have to tell them why if they're going to reject them. Doesn't make sense otherwise. If you're going to reject someone, you have to tell them, we're rejecting you because you don't meet the criteria for this or that. They can't just reject them and don't tell them nothing.
Yeah, so Stav, let me ask you this so we can switch on any other the next comment that we need to address. Do you think it's possible to reject any of the groups without telling them why? Just as the claims by the Saudis and the Nick Candy group saying they didn't tell them why they were rejected. Is that possible?
Well, debatable, but then do they want people to know why they've been rejected?
Sorry, did you say it is possible, or did you say no, it's not possible?
It's possible they don't get told, right? So it's highly unlikely. But just because those two said they haven't been told, doesn't mean they haven't been told. Maybe they don't want other people to know why they've been rejected.
Because that, to me, if you ask me, I see rejecting them without telling them why leaves room for, lawsuits.
Yeah, possibly.
Because we live in a civilized world. Even if you want to get a loan from a bank I think in the United States, I think it's mandatory that the bank tells the potential borrower, the person seeking to borrow money, that we're not giving you this money and this is our reason. You can't just say no like that. You have to explain, because if you don't, you leave room for lawsuits.
It's
And
the
Joe the
same here.
voice,
Same here,
yeah,
Charles.
exactly.
They have
So
to tell
that's
you.
why,
They have to
yeah.
tell you we don't accept. We're not giving you the loan because so and so. You don't have that. You don't have this. You know, it's everywhere. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so the fact is that the Saudi groups and the Nick Candy group, they must not be saying the truth, because it's a risk. You leave room for lawsuits. They come back at you and say, you didn't tell us why, and they'll make up something, and then it becomes a problem. So Joe the boy says, if Todd wins, I could see Tom Ricketts trying to buy into his consortium. The guy don't understand. No, I don't think. After the truth is, I do not think after seeing all this saga, all this conundrum going on, if Todd Bowley succeeds, that he will accept the Ricketts into. No, I don't think he will do that. What do you think, Stav?
Can you hear me okay?
Sorry?
Can you hear me?
We can't hear you. You have to fix your microphone. We can barely hear you. Declare, what do you think?
In this question?
Yeah, this question says it's not a question, it's just something we need to talk about it. He says, if Todd wins, I could see Tom Ricketts trying to buy into his consortium. The guy don't understand. And I'm saying, given all these issues and everything that's going on, I'm sure because right now they're competitors. They're competing against each other. I'm sure Todd will be seeing everything that's going on that's making the Chelsea fans protest against the Ricketts. Do you think he would even consider letting
No
them join
chance.
his consortium?
No one wants to go next to the Ricketts. The Ricketts is actually helping the others. Todd Bowley and the other group look great because of the lesser evil, because of Ricketts. Everyone's focused on the Ricketts. So nothing of the other groups are being highlighted. So they actually like the fact that Ricketts made it through and are getting all the attention because they're getting a free ride. No one's looking into them. And then when it comes to consortium, I mean, the fans' outrage could be the main reason why Ricketts don't win, which is great because we actually done something then. And then why would anyone want to go next to that? No one wants to be associated. Yeah, so he can beg all he wants. No one wants to go next to him.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Stav, would you?
No. Of course
If
I
you're
wouldn't.
Todd Bowley, you have so much. Did you change your microphone or something? Would you allow them join your consortium?
No. I'm on my
Simple.
mobile. I haven't changed no mic or anything.
Okay.
I put the phone on charge. That's probably really wasn't right reading the image. But anyway, no, I'm not going to listen. There's more likely to be. Let me just 1 second. There's more likely to be a connection between Bowley and the Broughton one, right? Because he may decide that he wants people who are actually in the country to be involved, right? So maybe the board will be made up of Sebco, Broughton, Finkelstein, and the other guy who we don't want because he's a Tottenham supporter. But that means he can take the day off and go and watch Tottenham instead. So they're more likely to combine together because if they're willing to share, you're talking about 4 billionaires, aren't you? At the end of the day, all combined to things. But the other alternative, of course, is if either of those two win, they can bring in John Terry. It's a true blue consortium. And that adds extra cash as well. Plus, it gives the club a high profile. It keeps the fans happier and quieter. So, But I wouldn't be touching Ricketts with a barge pole.
Okay. Okay, so quickly, Stab, what do you think about this coming from DJ South saying, been looking into the next stage of the CFC? So Raine are hoping for close to $4.5 billion. That's very high, essentially doubling the market value of the club offers are more likely to be within a 3.5 billion. What do you think, Stab?
Well, I said 3.5, didn't I? I said 1.5 to go to the Ukraine, billion towards the stadium, and $1 billion towards Chelsea's future investment.
But do you think, as DJ saying it's too high?
Well, no. What, 3.5 billion?
4.5. He's saying it's $4.5 billion. He's saying it's too high.
Oh, well, I don't deal in dollars, right? So, what's that in pounds then?
That should be
3 billion euros, don't you? Over there.
Yeah, we use euros, but I still deal in pounds when it comes to Chelsea. Only becomes euros when you start dealing with the UEFA.
So you think it's too high?
No, if it's 3.5 billion pounds, then it's not too high, because that's what people were saying. Their offers were going in anyway, wasn't it? They were saying that some people had gone in 2.7, 2.8, right? And that then ties into taking on another consortium, i.e. the Broughton one or Bowley, depending which of those two wins it.
Okay. Bobby Fergie said, I lost confidence in Bowley when he started talking about using data. Didn't he also waver around an immediate 50 million investment into the club? Does he know what it takes to run at Chelsea? Good question there. But the data thing I'm concerned about too. We've talked about it here. Only pair that thinks that has worked for Liverpool. Staff don't think it has worked. The Clad will talk for 10 years telling you how it hasn't worked. Nick Blue, what do you think about this comment on the screen by Bobby Fairview?
Yeah, can you read that to me again?
He says, I lost confidence in Bowley when he started talking about using data. Then he also wavered around an immediate 15 million investment in the club. Does he know what it takes to run Chelsea?
Yeah, that's I don't like that either. It's a Liverpool thing, isn't it? Really? Yeah, but
an American thing.
Yeah, American Liverpool thing, whatever. Yeah, but I don't like that idea really. But the other things he's saying, to rebuild the bridge is good, and to invest in the academy, to look after the ladies team, that's all good. So we have to wait and see. Like I keep saying, there could be another one coming in, someone we don't even know nothing about. So
spill the beans, Nick.
Don't put that out of the question, especially you declare. Yeah.
I'm backing. Couch. I'm backing this guy, the mystery guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see. I don't know how serious it is, but we'll see. And thank you for calling me Couch.
But
yeah.
We see who comes in.
Yeah, so let's breeze through the comment because we've been streaming for 3 hours, 12 minutes now. You were saying something, Nick?
Yeah, about the comment. I said, I don't like it. I don't like that idea, but everything Jon Spoli has said is good. Forget, these Ricketts, we've been talking mostly all about them, and they're not even going to have a chance in hell. We've been talking about them all for 2 hours now. That's funny.
That's the title of the stream.
Yeah, the Ricketts. Yeah, I know that, but there's other things to discuss more important, really.
You got to leave for tomorrow and that.
All right. So the next input says you're wrong, Coachila. Criminal background is ground for auto rejection, but you will not say to that person openly. You will not say it will reject. It depends on what offense it is. And then again, if you're a hiring officer, if you're working with an organization and you will accept the application and also interview the person. if need be, but you can say maybe we're no longer receiving applications, but you can't come out and say we're rejecting you because of this or that. So thank you. I get your point there. Big up DJ, and then let's see. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. We're approaching 1,000 subs, and I hope we'll get there today. Mikhail says agreed about the Fairview. Bally sound bites have not filled me with confidence. I think you can also see issues with it. All of the contenders, if you look at them. Do you reckon Raine Group have put up their friends up in the shortlist to get Chelsea? That's a possibility, but you can't say that. There's no evidence to confirm that's the case. But even at that, we're still. The good thing is that we're learning that you can't. They don't have the final say on who becomes the new Chelsea owner. Joy, the boy again says, people need to remember Saudi Media Group, we're not thinking of spending billions, but more on FSG approach. It is just me, or would the idea of Todd Boehly and Tuchel seem so right? Or possibly, Declan, you can say something about that if you want to. And this is for you, Declan. Go ahead if you can say something about that comment if you want to.
Tuchel with anyone that backs him is a good combo. I mean, but if you're expecting Tuchel to produce, miracles and stuff like that, that's a different story. If Todd Boehly looks at Tuchel and says, he can get the best out of not so great players, then he might abuse that and never throw big money at players because Tuchel's going to do magical things. I'm going to give Tuchel all his data, but see, my problem was I'd rather have Tuchel pick the players, right? But it doesn't sound like that. When he made that statement, he was going to pick the players. He was going to use data to pick the players for Tuchel, because Tuchel's not a mathematician, right?
Okay.
And so that's what happened. Liverpool, and that's why there's a good correlation of when they started doing that data and had so many bad transfers, and then Klopp came in, and all of a sudden the transfers were a lot better. And so I don't think that's why I say Liverpool use data, and I don't think that's where all their good signings came from, because you can see as soon as Klopp came in, he played a part in that. And so we don't want to go through the 10-year process of realizing where we're going to go through so many bad transfers and probably sack Tuchel to later on realize that it didn't work.
All right. This coming from Pierre says, got the impression that both SMG and Nick Candy were not shortlisted as they had no previous experience in running sports teams compared to other bidders. There was also some questions about the SMG front, which you saw. I've talked about it here, so thank you for that comment. Bobby Fairview says, whether the purchase is financed with debt or equity makes no difference. The size of the purchase price and our operating profits, return on investment will drive whether a new owner can afford to put in more money. It can put in more. Whether the purchase is financed by debt or equity makes no difference. I think that's the same comment I read before. And check a CFC last tweet. What is he saying? Can you let us know? Told you they are cheap. Okay, I hope that's the case. For Nick Blue, whenever he said coach, it sounds like couch, and he okay, I'm not gonna fight with Nick Blue. I love him. He's a brother. And deals CFC. If Renner rigged the shortlist, they would never be engaged to manage another cell again. They would ruin their reputation by being that stupid. That's the truth. The whole world are watching right now. If they do anything stupid, it will affect their reputation forever. And here in the United States, it doesn't matter where it happened. If you do anything illegal, you can still be charged for it when you come back home, at home, so to speak, if I'm allowed to phrase it that way. We've read that one. DJ says, Aurelien Tchouameni's agent has denied to Le Passion any agreement on personal time with Real Madrid. And again, Tchouaméni going to Real Madrid doesn't make sense. They still have the Brazilian, they still have Camavinga, and then now you're signing Tchouaméni. I don't think it makes sense. And Tchouaméni himself wouldn't want to go there because he'd be fighting for starting place with those two guys who are also good. And it was more Michael Edwards who changed Liverpool, but club didn't have a say. Okay, thank you for saying that. So now coming to you, Declan, just to round off, Tchouaméni goes to Chelsea. I think I haven't had much from Fraser today, but this is a good one. I hope he comes to Chelsea. Thank you again. I've been waiting to see your input, but this is a good input from you, even if that's the only thing you said today. It goes a long way, and he says, just wait. I'll start with you, Declan. Let us know. So it's good to end it on the main topic for the day. Do you think there's a chance, do you think there's a possibility that the Ricketts will become the new owners of Chelsea Football Club?
A possibility?
And if you're in the chat, let us know. Go ahead.
Yeah, a possibility, yes.
Mm-hmm.
There is a possibility. It should seem impossible. It should seem impossible. I said them making the shortlist was going to be impossible. Some of the other people I didn't see how they got in front. It should be impossible. But the fact that we don't know anything about the process, and I mean, Ricketts have a history of buying influence, let's put it that way. And maybe they have some friends in the whole process that can help them lead the way. And I mean, they've actually taken this criticism. And like I told you, these guys are conditioned. I mean, no to Ricketts would probably put a lot of people off. But these guys go, he flew to London, he's talking with the trust group. You know, even though he apologized on what he said and what his family's done, he has never done anything to improve that. He hasn't helped the people in his community. He hasn't helped any of the people that he criticized. He just said sorry, and make political statements, and it hasn't really shown anything. And now he's gone and talked with the trust group, and they've said, you should be doing more. And all of a sudden, he's going to start doing more, which is a failure because, I mean, if he's forced to do something, then it doesn't mean anything. So he should have been building up his reputation, for diversity and all those things that he was criticized for, homophobic, before he even came to, try to be for Chelsea. He should have just done that in his own city, let alone, the state that he lives in.
Okay, so I get your point. Blame Bruce Buck. This whistle CEO is the reason if Ricketts gets selected. He's the same person who wanted Super League. The sooner this guy is gone from the club, the better. I think I'm beginning. I'm starting to decide whether I should join the people that is the train against Bruce Buck. I don't know what's going on. I think there are the kind of people, if the Ricketts were, I think that by now say, you know what, we don't want, but I think they're still there. Probably something gives them confidence. I don't know what it is, but I'm still hopeful they're not going to be selected. And Mikhail says it's not possible for the Ricketts to become new Chelsea owners. And they all drew straws, and the shortest straw lost. Okay, and DJ Sam said a lot of the targets, Koundé, Tchouaméni, and Declan Rice, all waiting for Chelsea ownership before deciding their future. A lot of them want to play for Chelsea, and especially under Thomas Tuchel, he is a big pull. I think that makes sense. He's a big pull indeed. And if I were to be any of those players, I'd be, I'd not be I wouldn't be in a rush also to join Chelsea at this point until there's certainty regarding the future of the club. For players to sign us, yes, I understand that. What the Chelsea fans say in the last few weeks of the race will be heard in government, and the louder they say it, the better. So we must continue saying it. Let's be real loud. Yes, we should. Again, if I am quitting Chelsea, I'll still be friends with Coachila as a rival fan. Yes, even if you support the rival club, that doesn't mean we're not friends. We're still brothers, and you have every right to choose not to support Chelsea. that's up to you. I must say that. And Stav, I was going to come to you. Okay, Stav, I'll let you go last. Nick Blue, tell me, do you think there's a chance that the Ricketts will emerge as the new owners of Chelsea Football Club?
No, I've said that. I've been saying that since the name Ricketts came up. I don't think if they're not going to get be the owner. I'm 100% sure. I have no doubts about the Ricketts. And about Tuchel, too, when he speaks to all this lot, it's a very good idea. That's the best idea I heard this Raine Group make. And yeah, so I don't know. I don't think the Ricketts will go through. But if by any chance they do, we're still Chelsea fans, and we always will be. Most of us, the ones who don't want to be, they can go support Arsenal or Liverpool, like I said, or Tottenham, or whoever they want. But we real Chelsea fans.
What about Newcastle?
Or Newcastle or Dundee United, if they want, they can go all the way to Scotland. For us, as far as I care, I don't. They're not Chelsea fans. Declare. You can't call them fans if they don't support the team. We support the Chelsea Football Club. Whoever the owner is doesn't make no difference to us fans. But of course, we don't want these free kids, and we're not going to get him.
Yeah,
that's what.
Thank you for saying that. And DJ Saab said, I cannot see the Ricketts getting ownership of us. There's too much baggage indeed, and a PR nightmare. And how do you even talk about the other day? It was DJ also who said we're still paying for racial issues we had at the club in the past. So this will only make it worse. So DJ, again, thank you for this great comment. He said, I cannot see the Ricketts getting ownership of us. There's too much baggage with them. The shady racism background surely and should go against them. Thank you, DJ, for taking some time to say that. Mikhail says it would be perfect clown that hat for government to put on CFC by appointing Ricketts as owners, though. Yep, they'd have a lot to answer for if they do that. And Bobby Favy said, what about Bali connection to DraftKings and gambling in the U.S.? Since the pitch owners are holding the club hostage over the Chelsea name, he might have a plan for a new source of revenue. Stav, can you quickly take this comment, address this comment, and just let us know if you think there's a chance for the Ricketts to emerge as the new owners of Chelsea Football Club so that we can round off, because we've been streaming for 3 hours and 27 minutes. Go ahead, Stav.
So you managed to get away from the John Terry issue then.
We'll talk about it. There's another chance for it.
No to Ricketts, right? With regards to Bobby Fairview's comment that the Chelsea pitch owners are holding the club to a ransom or whatever you want to call it, hostage, I think is the word he used, right? That's the whole point of the Chelsea pitch owners. They were set up by Ken Bates to protect the club's name and to protect the stadium so that developers couldn't get in by the stadium and finish the club off. So this hostage things are ridiculous. Sorry.
No, here's the main point now. Here's the main point now that I wanted to talk about is the possibility of, he says, since the pitch owners are holding the club hostage, forget that part. The part that says the Chelsea name, he might have a plan for new source of revenue. You get the point there.
Well, the Chelsea name relates to where the ground is, right? It's to protect it was set up to protect the club, right? There's ex-players who've got CPO shares as well, right? It's not just fans. There's ex-players, there's ex-board members, well-known supporters, all sorts of people in the Chelsea pitch owners, right? They're not holding anybody to hostage. That was the point of setting it up, right? And if Bobby wants to continue with the let's move away from Stamford Bridge routine, right, I'm okay with that if he wants to do that. But tell me where. He keeps coming back with this thing about the Chelsea pitch owners.
That's all rubbish.
Tell us where.
Live in Stamford Bridge, Bobby. Forget it.
Tell us where. Like, don't just keep coming with the same comment repetitively. Tell us where we're going to move to. Does he not understand that that is prime real estate? I've said this 100 times. It's near lots of tourist places, right, which attracts extra supporters to the stadium, right? It's got good transport links. If you start moving out of London, there's no transport links to the outskirts of London. And then if you go even further south, then you got the M25, right, circular motorway, which is a nightmare. It's a nightmare. He doesn't even know the area, right, or London. And to move, you have to have permission from the Lord Mayor of London, right? And whatever council you want to move into. And if you're moving near another football club, forget it. It's not happening.
All right.
Not like the US.
All right. Thank you very much, Stav. I appreciate you taking the time to address that comment. And Joy the Boy says, Bowley won't change the club name and logo. Loss of money, be crazy, and fans. And Joy the Boy says, if you don't live in London, you don't understand how hard it is to find a new area. I think I'm learning that myself since I started this show. So thank you very much for taking some time to say that too. Should we have an episode about Stamford Bridge redevelopment or move? I think we should do that. But that will be the moment this whole conundrum about the transfer of ownership is done, because we still have marathon shows regarding the change of ownership, and even 3 hours doesn't look it's enough for us to cover everything we want to cover. But with that, I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat, from the Queen of the House, Just Viola, to Joy the Boy, to Bobby Fairview, Mikael, DJ Sav, thank you for stopping by. We are Phantom of Many Colors. Thank you for your contributions that go along with Pierre, who's not able to join on the panel today. Thank you, Frizz. Every other person, if I miss your name, apologies. Steve Chelsea, Tobago, also thank you. The Clad, who's on the panel. So I want to thank everybody in the chat. And Tide Talks CFC, please be sure to go check Tide Talks channel, great channel. Go check it. I think you will enjoy it. And the same thing as Almighty Blues FC, go check all the whole channel. And I want to thank everybody on the panel, from the Clad to Nick Blue to Stav, always available to support the channel. That means a lot to me. And if I did not say your name, apologies. Again, thank you, Steve Chelsea. And he says, Coach gave that to Stav on papers to set him off. We are the worst in the top 6 revenue. I guess Stav wants to protect the pitch owners, but what Bates did was a poison pill. We'll talk about that another day. We've decided we're gonna, host a show on that topic. Up the Chelsea, yes, up the Chelsea. And we've grown. Thank you very much. Great stream, says DJ Seth. Thank you very much. It's always nice to have you available. And with that, I say thank you to everybody on the panel. You've been great. And you're the reason why the show needs just 10 more subscribers to get to 1,000 subscribers. I cannot thank you guys enough. With that, I say God bless us all. See you guys next time. And bye.